Well, good morning and welcome to Sewing Quarter. To say that we have a super special day for you today would be an understatement. This is the dream. Today we have got this for you. Oh yes, and the man behind it. Let's see how today is shaping up. Yes, today it is Kaffe Fassett Day. It's our Kaffe Fassett special. At 8 o'clock, we've got our Kaffe Fassett quilt, which is this beautiful thing behind me, which you'll see in just a minute. 9 o'clock, hey, we're going to welcome Kaffe himself is going to be here. Oh, can't wait. Get your questions in. 10 o'clock, we've got our Kaffe Fassett cushion. You know, quilts, cushions, we've got the lot. And then at 11 o'clock, not just 1 hour of Kaffe, but 2. The man himself is back, and we are going to be talking fabrics. And we have got some of his fabulous, fabulous fabrics for the first time ever by the half metre. Yes, yes. This is possible. It's not often I feel dwarfed by things. You know, I'm nearly 6 foot tall, but look at this. It is the most incredible quilt. Stunning, colourful. It has all the colours, so it's going to go anywhere because it has all the colours. And today, you can get this. Here are the details. So, for $249.95, you get the complete kit. We're talking backing, wadding, the lot. Everything for your front, the full instructions. Now, we have ranked this as a beginner level. It's not going to be made in a weekend. A little bit longer than that, you're going to get your money's worth with this. Absolutely. But this is, if you can sew in a straight line, you can do this quilt. So this is the Kaffe Fassett Stripes Galore Quilt Kit, and it is magnificent. Front and back. Front and back. So here's the thing. When you get this home, oh, here we go. Let me also tell you this. This is a master handcrafted world of colour and design. Yes, you're going to get full instructions with this. Everything that you need is in the kit. It's all there for you. There's some of the instructions for you. So beautifully laid out step by step. Jess is with us. She's going to be talking us through exactly how to make this creation. So if you want that, if you want to see step by step, stay with us this hour. We've got it all for you. Now, we've also got a competition. So if today, to celebrate Kaffe being here, if today you buy anything Kaffe related, then you will go into a prize draw with a chance to win one of 3 signed copies of Kaffe's Book of Quilts in Ireland. That's what we've got for you today. Now, T's and C's all online, all of that we have, you know, with competitions and all that sort of thing, all the stuff that we have to say there. But also I have to say...
Hello.
Good morning,
Good
Jess.
morning,
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Did you sleep a wink last night,
No.
or were you too excited?
I was very excited. He's been a hero of mine for about 30 years.
A decade or two.
Decade or two. So this is incredibly exciting to be here today.
Now, you said, which I thought was really, really sweet, you said, I feel like, you know, we've got a lot of quilters who just quilt, but I'm a craft sewer.
Yeah.
And, you know, is it okay that I'm doing a Kaffe quilt? And I say absolutely, because this hasn't been a flash in the pan type love affair for you. That, like you say, this is over 3 decades. Of admiring an incredible artist.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I first was a teenager when we used to have books on Kaffe, and we used to see him about knitting and things like that, and then it was needlepoint, and then he had his TV show, Glorious Colour, when I was a bit older. My mother used to get books for Christmas, which I now own. I've got one behind me, which he signed back in 25 years ago, which was given to her, not by him, by friends who actually bought it in the States. And I just, when I heard he was coming on, I thought, hang on, that's my day. Do I get to come in? And
you do.
And I get to come in. It's really exciting.
And we've asked you to make, we're going to talk about your why is so special to you in a moment. But the quilt that we've asked you to do.
Yes.
How technical?
It's not terribly technical. You need to be able to cut in a straight line.
Yep.
It's methodical because you need to, it's quite a lot of cutting out because as you can see from it, it's got loads of little bits. I mean, they're strips,
yes,
but they're long strips. So sewing those together, once you actually do that, it's just a case of putting it all together and then deciding how you want to actually quilt it, whether you want to hand quilt it, whether you want to machine quilt it, send it out to be quilted, or even just do little sort of tufts, sew it together, little bits, bobs, however you want to do it. It's up to you.
Now, what we haven't showed you yet, before we get going with this, is the backing.
Oh, the
now,
backing.
This comes in your kit with it, so that the front can be stunning, but the back doesn't disappoint. Let me show you this.
It's huge.
We're going to hold it out because I want you know, I could give you inches, but actually you need to see it.
I mean, look. Should we go to the front, or how do you want to do it? It is massive. I mean, this is I mean, you can see it also folds down here as well. It is and it's got the most beautiful sheen to it.
Oh, it's so soft,
gorgeous.
As well. So, you know, all of this, the finished size of this quilt is 71 inches by...
It's 71 by 90...
83 or 84?
83. So
83 inches.
So
that's
about 180
size.
by 210.
Yeah.
In sort of like real money, I suppose.
Woohoo!
And
that's
you get
pretty amazing.
So much of this fabric. It is just... After cutting out these strips, I still have loads left, enough to make cushions or any accessories you want to with the leftover fabric, because there is just loads of it.
Now, talk to me then about how we start this. Whilst I finish folding this massive
it's going to take you a while.
Fabric, I'm going to ask for help.
Okay, cool.
And discreetly stuff it down there.
No worries. Well, first of all, if you grab the instructions, it tells you in great detail how to actually cut out those strips, because it comes in, and also the actual widths and fabric and things.
I think for this quilt, the cutting is part of the fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you get to you get better acquainted with the stunning colours and designs the more that you handle it to cut it and get into it. The types of fabric in here, have I said that right?
ICAT, yeah.
ICAT?
Yeah, that's on the quilt, it's the... How would you describe that? I suppose
we'll show it. We'll show it in a minute. And also batik.
Yes.
So it's got a lovely feel.
It has. You've got the lovely cotton sort of centrepiece and then the back. You have the three sort of batik stripes, the sort of the pink and the indigo. The go through here actually. So you get these three on the top.
So this is all your Kaffe. Now this is your batik type. So bold, vibrant colours. No surprise, it's Kaffe Fassett. You know, and it's. This could have just been a normal stripe. Yeah. It could have been a beautiful pink and blue stripe. You know, we see it on the high street.
It's gorgeous.
But no, there's depth and there's colour, there's intensity.
And texture as well. Yeah. It's got really nice texture to it.
Absolutely stunning. This is no ordinary stripe. So you've got that one. You've also got here.
They're lovely, aren't they?
Yes. Look at that. These are happy colours.
They are.
Is how I like to describe
Circus colours.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cheerful.
It's your grand day out colour, isn't it? It's just...
Well, he's always been known for stripes, as well as his florals and all those stripes and things, very geometric.
Striking stripes.
Striking stripes.
But again, you know, look at that detailing in there.
I love these two colours together. They're just gorgeous.
I mean, the orange, I mean, this is like a sunset going through there, but it does have, producer Paul say, oh, it kind of looks like a watercolour. There is that watery motion to it as well. But then...
And you get loads of fabric. I have so much left over. This, if you think that's, let's open it up. Which way are you going to go? That way?
That way.
That way. And if you look, you use this for the central panel, sort of from the top left, and then you cut binding strips for the actual binding. And you have
so much fun.
I had enough left over to easily make a great big cushion, lots of little bits to sort of do as applique or patchwork. It's just so cheerful. I mean, that's actually big enough for a tablecloth. It's just lovely.
Lovely, isn't it?
It's really, really nice.
And now this is the ICAT. So this is... here we go.
I'm sure we had tablecloths like this years ago. This lovely print, these lovely colours.
Well, you said something interesting to me in the green. You said, you know, this follows down from fashion into your furnishings. So it's kind of, I want to say, almost Aztec-y in design. It's that,
and it's
sort
huge.
of... Whoa, look at it. But this is your ICAT. So this... the way this is a resist dyed technique. So the yarn is kind of bundled and tied, so that then when it's dyed, you get this resist, and that's what this is. And then you get this kind of effect because of then how it's woven.
Yeah.
Which is just, look at that.
So it's a woven,
stunning.
not a printed stripe. So,
but it's got that organic movement and feel and texture to it.
Yeah.
So clever. So clever.
I know, it's just good. I love the fact you've actually got a mix of fabrics. It's not all just the same sort of cotton. You've got your batik, you've got your micat, you've got this lovely sheen. It's got this gorgeous sheen
that's
to
just
it.
it. So
draped so nicely.
It's not just about the colour.
No,
it's
texture.
also about texture as well. It's the whole deal.
Yeah.
Stunning.
That's my favourite, though. I love that
This one?
Yeah, it's just so cheerful and it really pops.
It's beach huts and summer holidays.
It is. That's exactly
it?
what it is.
It's very evocative of that. So all of this that was beautiful.
There's so much fabric there. It's a
beautifully,
ridiculous amount of fabric.
You're getting. What do we do with it?
What do we do with it? Well, first of all, you have your instructions,
Yes.
and you spend time cutting out. So what I would say is, if you obviously need to have a long ruler,
yes,
if possible, and a nice mat. You can use a smaller one, but it'll take you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You'll need your dining table, obviously, because you need to be able to long length to cut out. So
it's going to be TV dinners for a little
while.
It's
going to be TV. Well, I always think with something like a quilt, because my mother was a quilter. But she would take a year to make a quilt. They were all hand pieced and hand quilted. Some of them were kept, some of them were given away, and a lot of them were raffled for charity. She did an awful lot of work with Oxfam with that sort of thing. So quilting is something which is she always had a massive embroidery hoop on that, sort of propped on the side. One of the things, she had 7 projects ago. And sorry, I'm talking very fast. And therefore, I sort of did bits with her as well, so I've made little ones. I like to machine quilt, although I have made hand quilts as well. But this, because it's so big, you could do whatever you wanted to. But yeah, cutting out, take your time, because it's like all quilting, it's precision.
Yes.
There's a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so it's everything's sort of with 1/2 inch, so you've got your 1/4 inch on either side. So it tells you in the instructions where to actually start. Mine are all marked up here. This is my copy. It's and very handily, it sort of points out, it gives the sort of name, but also has the colour.
Yes.
So you know which ones you're doing, and you tick them off as you go. So first of all, it talks about the width of fabric and length of fabric, because you're actually cutting a lot full length.
Yes.
What you're doing is you're cutting the fabric into strips, sewing the strips together to get longer strips,
even longer
and then
strips.
cutting them down. Yes, because if you look at the quilt, I mean, some of them are really, really long. And it's rare to get something that long printed. Yes. So,
although saying that, you say it's rare to get something really that long, but the backing fabric is one sheet.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
I mean, look, we've got it here.
It's massive, isn't it?
274 centimetres.
That's why, and you think about it, if it's a 210 quilt, and 274 centimetres, and you're only using the backing, how much you have left over of that once you've cut it down? Loads.
Oh, it just is brilliant.
Anyway, so first of all, you start by cutting your fabric. So and I've cut most of this because the cutting out takes time.
I mean, look at this. This is what I love, is how the organisation that goes with this. This makes me very happy. Everything cut to precision, labelled, all good to go.
All good to go.
Yeah, look at that.
I have, however, done with the first cutting, which is...
Yeah, show us this.
The first cutting. Here we go. It tells you first of all here, cut all the different fabrics, and then it tells you how to sew them all together into strips and cut those down, and then you put it all together.
Right.
So what I've done is I've cut them all out, sewed together most of them, and cut those to the right length. All the details are in here. It's not complicated. You just got to be able to just
follow it.
Tick them off step by step. So the first one you actually cut out and then start stripping is this lovely fabric.
Oh, the orange stripe.
The orange stripe. So as you can see, I've sewed most of them together.
Let me grab the other side, because this
gives
is what
you an idea.
Yeah.
Gives you an idea of what you end up with. It goes on forever. This is why I say, this is a project which. And you sew them together as invisible as possible.
Yeah, because I couldn't see your join.
Well, that's the fun. I love things like this, where you actually, if you have a look. Here's just one of them. Can you see that? There. Oh, there we are. That is actually the join. There. So that's how you try and do it as invisible as possible. Obviously, because it's a print, you won't necessarily get it exact. But with quilting, you don't want it exact, really.
I couldn't see that.
No, there you are.
It's brilliantly done.
Thank you. So, and then I would just got one here. So you can see this is what a standard length of one of these, with my markers on, you see, take that off.
Well, no, this is it, isn't it? Get yourself a pile of sticky notes.
Yeah, pencil,
you're gonna need
don't pen, pencil.
Yeah.
And this is the sort of standard width you get when you cut them, when you're cutting that width of the fabric.
44 inches, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, well done. And then we'll just sew that together. So I'll just do that, and then I'll cut this down, and all the others are done. So shall I do that very quickly?
Yes.
Right, okay,
yes,
and then we can cut this one down, because that's just the one bit of cutting it. So.
Now, what I love about this kit is that you get everything. All that is left for you to choose is what colour thread you use.
Yes.
Now, the wadding because, I mean, to wad this, there's a lot of wadding.
There is.
It's fair to say.
It's a proper size quilt.
We've put an 80-20 in there, so 80% cotton, 20% polyester in there. That is in there. And that's 81 by 96 inches. So that's huge as well. Well, it has to be, obviously.
Oh, yeah, it's massive.
No chemicals, no bleaching, and natural, really lovely. So that's, and it has to be. To go in, to settle in with all those organic colours, you can go and put some plastic in the middle, you know, it couldn't be done.
No, you can't. You want it to have that lovely feel to it, because this is Kaffe.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful wadding, it has to be said, it really is.
Everything about this quilt is beautiful. You know, it is, imagine if this was a gift. I don't think it's too early to be thinking Christmas presents.
No, and you could easily make this for someone before Christmas, or you could gift it to someone who's either starting out in Christmas, who's a maker, who's either starting out or just loves Kaffe. You know, whatever you actually want to do with it, just go ahead. You know,
it's funny, isn't it? Because he's a name that. He is a household name. Laughing about this with my husband is that it's a thing in our family that my mother's never heard of anyone. You could say anyone famous and she would never have heard of them.
Really?
It's just not on her radar.
Oh.
Kaffe Fassett. Oh yeah, she's heard of him.
I'm so nervous. Look, I just said it like that. I know.
That's okay.
Do we have a seam ripper? If not, I'll use
we will do. We will do any second now.
Is Amy bringing one in?
Yeah, she'll bring one in. But this is it, isn't it?
Nerves. Sorry, guys.
No, but this happens. If it happens...
Oh, sorry, I
just unpick.
Yeah, the amount of times, I mean, you sort of say, oh, what are your favourite tools? My favourite tools are seam ripper and a chopstick. Chopstick for turning out, seam ripper for moments like this. We've all done it.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
Not everyone has had the pleasure of doing it on air.
No! I'm just, just saving you that.
So this is the quilt that we're making today. There it is. Just a riot of colour. In the most beautiful tones as well.
They are. It's summer but also autumnal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thank you, my darling.
Absolutely. We've described it, a master's handcrafted world of colour and design.
Oh, what I would say about this one, by the way,
yes.
when you make a mistake, as I just have,
yeah.
The wonderful thing about this batik is that you can just go like that with your fingers and the holes go really quickly.
And also, because there's so much texture within the batik,
it vanishes.
You're not going to see it anyway.
No, exactly. And if you can't muck up when it's a Kaffe Fassett show because you've been meeting someone you've been thinking about for years, when can you?
It's not that we're starstruck, you understand.
No, it's just one of those. This is so surreal. When I first was sort of asked back in April, would you like to come and screen test, and would you like to do something like this? And part of me was thinking, oh, that's mad. Honestly, really? Where are we? Me on air? That just doesn't make sense. So when I was asked, there we are. When I was asked to actually do it, I would never have thought in a million years that a few months down the line, by the way, you're going to be asked to do a show with Kaffe Fassett stuff.
It's a thing of dreams.
And you're going to meet him.
Well, do you know what?
I know.
Guess what?
What?
Kaffe is in the building. Ooh. He's in the house. We've got him. He's here. Which is just brilliant. Very exciting. So we're going to be making him a cup of tea, settling him in.
Biscuits.
Biscuits, yeah.
Pops.
Yeah, you know it's a special day when we've got really nice biscuits in the green room.
Biscuits and beautiful flowers. Very nice flowers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, I'll do that very quickly again. Properly. Check. Pinned. Checked.
Is this the other thing, to also make sure that you've done it the same
yes,
direction?
You have to. So you have to, yeah, because that's one of those things, because We've all done. Everyone's done it. You always check, where's the last seam? Because I checked the one before that, it's all in there.
Strip quilts are my thing at the moment. I really enjoy making them.
Well, it's really, it's quite quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know.
And also it means that I can get all the fabrics I love in it.
Yes. And that's one of the things I love about this one is it's got so many, the prints, the fact they're actually stripes. There are so many different colours within the stripes.
Yes. Well, I mean, for example, let's have a look again at this iCat. This eye-catching iCat.
Beautiful iCat.
Look, I mean, it's almost kind of an ombre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Through it's really rather striking, but it's the tones, it's the soft tones that I love in this.
Beautiful.
And
they really balance against the vibrancy of the central panel and also the back panel.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, they do, don't they? Because this on the iCat is a softer tone than that vibrant centre panel. But it works.
Absolutely. It's one of, I just think, when I saw the fabric had come out of the box, first of all, blimey, this is massive. The first thing I thought, I'll just go back a bit there. And then I thought to myself, oh, these colours are just yummy, especially as this is supposed to be our summer, isn't it?
Yes.
Where is our summer?
I don't know, someone pressed winter by accident.
Yeah. Bring back the sun, that's what I say. Just do that again, there we go. And so when it actually came out, it just reminded me of, you know, summer holidays, out, you know, and then also the lovely sort of warm feelings of fiery reds, sunsets, that sort of thing. Right, there we are, all done. Now, I just need to...
you wouldn't see that.
You wouldn't see that. And then you trim it off to 1/4 inch. So I'll just quickly do that with this lovely one, which has got grips underneath it. I love
Now, we talked about rulers earlier because we asked you what ruler do you need?
Yeah.
And you said, well, preferably a 24-inch one, simply because if you're cutting selvage to selvage, which you have to a lot in this quilt, when you fold it in half, that ruler will then cut in one selvage to selvage, which is excellent. Otherwise, you're going to be there for quite a long time, which you can be. You know, I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is that sometimes actually having great tools for the job just make the whole thing more pleasurable.
Well, when I first started doing things for magazines, I still had my little one, which is about there, my little mat.
Yes.
And I had a little sort of quilter's ruler, and a sort of one with the metal edge and things. I've gone through creating so many projects for Simply Sewing over the years using that. And it's only in the last month or so I've actually gone and got myself a proper big mat. The difference.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Look at this, I can spread it all out. It's lovely, absolutely lovely, as opposed to just sort of moving things around.
So when you take over your dining room table, because Kaffe is coming out, then absolutely...
And the kids eat in the sitting room, it's fine.
Yeah,
exactly. May I have the iron on, please?
Yes, you may. You absolutely may.
What you can see is I've just trimmed off the actual seam allowance to about 1/4 inch, pressed it open with my fingers, and I'll just iron that flat, just very, very quickly, just to give that a press. And I'll just do the other side as well. Always press both sides. There you go. Now, so this is fabric C. On the instructions, what?
It's a great name, isn't it? Fabric C.
Fabric C. Well, the actual name of this is Big Stripe Yellow.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does what it says on the packet.
Exactly. So fabric C. Here we go. Remove this out. This is what you do for all of your stripes.
Right.
Remove the selvages and sew the 5, because these are actually 5 strips now sewn together into one great big long strip, 5 by 4.
Yes.
You set them all together along the 4-inch edges.
Now we've just spread this out and it goes across the
really
length of the studio.
Yeah, it's about, if you think about it, it's 45 inches times 5, so it's quite long. And some of these you actually sew 8 together.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So there we go. And you cut them into one long continuous string, press the seam allowances open, and then you need to cut it down into 4 different lengths, the lengths which actually fit on the quilt. When you see the quilt, you start with the central panel and you add bits outwards, like you do with anything, I suppose.
When one of our managers first saw this quilt, he thought that central panel was all individual pieces.
I must admit, when I saw the picture of it, I thought,
Did you wonder as well?
I thought, hang on, I haven't seen that print, and I thought, hang on, that's a lot of piecing. And then I thought, no. I looked at it close up and I thought, no, it's one panel.
So it also gives that an illusion of being a far more complex creation than it is. And that's why when we said that it was a beginner level, I was really surprised. But then when you get closer, actually you realise that this is strip and then strips, and then strips.
Yes, it's a really good introduction
Brilliant.
to actually doing, if you want to do a full-size quilt.
Yes.
Because the piecing will take you a weekend, then you can quilt it however you want. If you want to do it on your machine, if you want to send it out, if you want to do it by hand, even if you just want to do little bits of hand sewing here and there just to hold it together, however you want to, and you've then created a really big piece. Rather than a lap quilt. I mean, that would look, I was just thinking that would look lovely on a sofa. And because there's so much fabric left over, there's enough, you can, especially the central panel, as you can see when Tash and I opened up earlier, you can have loads of sort of accent cushions, whatever you actually want. I mean, it's just huge.
Well, let's show that central piece again.
Yeah,
you can see over there how big that central panel is. This is how much fabric.
This is what I've cut for the central panel. So you can see that's the central panel. You then cut bias strips as well along the length.
Hang on, hold that up again.
Hold it up
I'll get
again.
into you in just 1 second.
I mean, what is that? That's probably almost 2 fat quarters.
So that's what you use. You will also need to do
and then you have
your binding, but you've got all of this.
Much. Yeah, you get a huge amount. So it also, because there's a huge amount of it, if you want to say, oh, I want to do it from this stripe to this stripe, or I want to include these bits or have it a different way, you can do whatever you actually want.
So you can sort of fussy cut within it.
I keep looking at that and thinking that make lovely aprons as well. I just think I just love it. I just love the print. It's just so pretty. It's gorgeous. Adding pom-pom trim.
Oh, yes.
Right.
We said the green pom-pom trim.
Green pom-pom trim or lilac. But yeah, the green would look amazing. This lime green would look amazing. Or it's sort of hot orange. It's just, it's just so gorgeously, deliciously lovely.
Fab. There it is. And that is the central piece.
Yeah.
But again, we've said about this quilt that the backing is as stunning as that front piece. Beautiful design for that backing. I love this because so many people will just hold out a little bit here so you just get a flavour, a flash and a flavour. But imagine that quilt folded back so that actually you get an idea of this as well. Because when a back is as beautiful as a front, you can't hide that.
No.
It would be rude.
Exactly. It's just got this lovely feel to it as well. It's got this lovely sheen. I also think that'd be a really nice dress. Is that wrong?
Well, I don't know, because something that colourful. Could you imagine if you had that sort of up the staircase or something as a wall hanging?
Oh, we had loads of those, and their quilts are heavy. You know, we actually had you could put sort of sew tabs on the top with a long cane, and you hang them up, and then you rotate them, take them down to wash and change the seasons.
But if you knew that was what you were going to do with that, then save your backing and use it elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not going to see that backing, like if it's on a bed and you can fold it back, and you get to appreciate that design. Oh, so many options. So many options. What do we do next?
So next we're going to cut our strips. So this one, fabric C, cut to 49.5 inch. The half inches are for the seam allowances, so you end up with a 49-inch. We end up with a 49-inch strip like this. So 2 at 49.5 and 2 at 44.5. So what you do is work out the length of your mat. This is a 36-inch mat.
Yes.
Okay. I should have a pen somewhere or a little pencil or something. No, that's all right, I'll use my hand.
We did have. Where did it go? Amy, could you possibly grab us one, please?
So here we have 35, and you want it to be, always go back and check, double check. Never cut when you're tired.
What is it? Check twice, cut once.
Yes. The amount of times where I've gone with my ruler, put it down, put a little sort of invisible marker, got to take measure out, double checked, then cut it. But the thing about this, because you are actually sewing strips, and you sew them all together, and I actually worked out how much you'd actually have sewn all together versus how much you actually need. You do get a good amount left over. So if you do make a mistake, you just sew a bit on the end and you cut it again.
But yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because it is that stripe, you can sew it back should you make a mistake, which again is what makes a brilliant beginner's quilt.
Exactly, absolutely. And the thing about the way when I was growing up, when I was taught about quilting, is it's a quilt. There should be something which is like, my mum used to say, a mistake or something. So when you actually piece something together, there's something which is a slightly different, or you add a slightly different print, so it actually lines up and everything. Thank you, my love. I'll just do a little bit on the corner just so you can see. So that's 35. Here we have, I'll just put a little bit there because this is actually a pen. there. So that's 35.
Right.
And you need 49.5. So you go 35, take it down to... So work it out in your head. This is a 35 mat. You need 49.5. So what do you need there? You
14
need
and a half.
14.5. So you get your marked bit, just there, and take it along to 14.5, which is there. Make sure it lines up.
So use your mat. This is why having the tools for the job is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And just line it up.
So would you come back to 0?
Yeah, I sort of
that's
work.
your mark.
What you can also do with this is you could, depending on how you actually want to do it, you could actually think to yourself, okay, I want to have with the quilt as far as possible have the stripes sort of to actually be exactly matching, which kind of can work. Sometimes it doesn't. So you can actually think, okay, well, I'll just cut a bit off here and then make it sort of like this. But because we're on 10, we're just going to cut it now. Just get it done, as it were.
So would you come? You need to come back to 0, don't you? Because you've measured that out to...
From there?
Yeah.
14
That's your extra 14.5.
Yes, you're right. There we are.
See?
It's very useful having you here, Tash.
Measure twice.
Measure twice before I cut the whole lot.
We'll get a friend to help.
Indeed. Just do that again. Just double checking. Can you tell I'm nervous? I'm really nervous. Everything else is cut, but I am genuinely nervous because this is really exciting.
So whilst you measure this,
yeah,
are you okay to talk and measure?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'll keep an eye on what you're doing as well.
14.5. Glad one of us is. 14.5. There we go. Right, okay, and then we line that up there, and then we cut it. So
you've mentioned earlier your mother was a quilter.
She was, yes. Not professional, but you know, most of the home
Yeah.
sewers aren't professionals. We just do it because we love it.
And as such, a big fan of Kaffe.
Yes.
Yes.
Because when you my mother came from sort of a generation where quilting was something you did. Oh, hang on. Quilting was something you did. You used up old fabric, and that's how you actually went ahead and did it. I'll just straighten that off. So that was her sort of generation. So she would and because where we live, we didn't have beautiful fabric shops or that sort of stuff. But she was also a knitter as well. And when she sort of first knew about Kaffe through his yarn and his patterns and things, I can't remember her actually making any of those because they were beautiful. It was like quite a lot of yarn, but she just loved the colour. And then he did sort of needlepoint kits and all that sort of stuff, and so that was where it sort of thing came on. And then there was the Glorious Colour TV show.
Your sister was given a Kaffe Fassett needlepoint
yes,
kit.
I think it was
for her 18th or something.
It was about 88 or 87. Might have been 87. And sorry, Barbara, just told your age there. And it was the plum one. And I think it's actually, I have 4 of his books, very old books, which are given to my mother. I've got one behind me, I'll show you in a bit. And it was a plum. And then Kaffe did, about 3 years ago, there was an exhibition of his at the American Museum in Bath, and he has a big, long sort of history of the American Museum. I'm sure he might mention it to you. And with quilting and all that sort of stuff. And they had a big exhibition of his work over the years. And that cushion was in there. And I remember taking a photograph of it. And I said to my sister yesterday, what happened to it? She said, oh, over the years it got eaten by moths. I was so disappointed. No. But she had it for years. That went all over the country with her. Wherever she went, that was one of the things she took and one of the quilts that Mum made her.
These are heirloom pieces, aren't they?
They are. Well, that's the thing. And you look at his stuff, his body of work, from painting through to all the textiles, through to the knitting, you name it. Prints, everything he's actually done. It's creating a body of work. And when you are a crafter, a sewer, a stitcher, you leave behind a body of work when you pass on. And so Mum has left a massive body of work. And a lot of that from the early days was the inspiration of using colour.
I think once you have this colour, I mean, we say this is because this is an heirloom piece, and because there's so much colour in there, it never goes out of fashion.
No, never.
You can't say, oh, I'm sorry, no, colour isn't in this year.
No, of course not.
No.
That never changes.
And you don't, I mean, I've looked through a lot. I mean, Kaffe's got, over 30 books. And I've looked through
30
books?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
That is a lot.
And looking through them, I never look at anything and think, oh, that's really dated. You know, that's yeah. You know, you wouldn't want that now.
No.
There's no element of that. It's timeless. It's like, you know, you wouldn't look at a Picasso and go,
No.
oh no, not this year. No, sorry. So greys are in. So forget your blue period. No, it's grey this year.
It never changes. For me, when I was thinking of Kaffe, or looking through his books over the last few days, there's a sort of the series of different colours. There's the beautiful florals, which vary from the ones which remind me of the Dutch masters. So you think of your Dutch masters with your sort of dark background, your lobster, your, am I allowed to say, bosomy florals everywhere, all this sort of stuff.
We all love a bosomy floral.
Yes, and there's one, I think, on his glorious needlepoint book. I think the cover of the copy I've got, I don't know, it's a 90-something book, I think. It's got an armchair on it, which is just these lovely sort of hot pinks and blues. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And you think about his cabbages. I mean, we've got, in this gorgeous print behind us, we have one of the cabbage prints here. I actually have that print at home. I'm going to embroider it with bugs. I love it. So you have this in loads of different colourways. He's known for the cabbages. We've got cabbages in the book behind me. Check the 14.5. Yes, it is. And then cut. Where are we? 14.5. I'm double checking because I'm like,
although we are all about Kaffe Fassett today, we've started off this morning. First hour today is starting to cut up this quilt ready to stitch. It is a stunningly eye-catching showstopper of a piece, and you can get this home to quilt. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you are beginner, you can tackle this quilt. Whether you are experienced, then you get the joy of working with the most incredible fabrics, the most beautiful eye-catching colours. Today you can have it 24995. Now that is everything. Now last time we bought a similar kit in terms of with everything in it, it sold out.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was when we were very, very early on in the channel as well. And I remember there being great debate as to how many we brought to wear because we were so new. We didn't know how many of you out there were going to lap up this colour. Now, there's only £2.95 postage on this as well, which is incredible. It comes in a great big box.
It's a huge box.
I know.
It's a massive box.
Let us worry about that. You only just pay £2.95, and actually, no matter what else you buy today, that postage will only be £2.95. So please, message from producer Paul.
Yes.
Please check out your baskets.
Really?
If you have this in your basket, please check out. Just make sure that you've got everything that you need. If you are investing in a show-stopping piece like that, consider maybe getting a ruler that's really going to make the job easy. There is a lot of cutting with this. £31.95 is the ruler here that Jess is using. That non-slip grip just means...
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can see it here. It's got these, this is the reverse, it's got these pads. I actually have a ruler at home. It's a bit older than this one, and I've actually stuck pads on them myself.
Well,
this has got pads all around the side, so it's brilliant.
There you go. You can see. If I just flash it there, then you can see it. So these are your integrated non-slip grips.
Yes.
Which means it doesn't matter how small you are cutting, because this non-slip grip is all around the edge as well, and in those circles, it grips the fabric.
Yeah.
This has given me the confidence to cut. I was terrified of cutting with a
Well,
rotary
other rulers just slip around, but this one, you put your hands on it and it holds. But yeah, when you've actually got a length of fabric like this, there's nothing worse than you spend your time lining up like this and then it moves, but this one doesn't.
Well, also, you know, you've invested in a beautiful quilt here. Don't mess it up by cutting it wrong.
No.
You know, so, yeah, because your ruler slipped. Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
Right, we're doing the last strip here.
Okay.
So I've just cut the 249.5. I'm using a little bit here, but because it's got seam allowance, you won't see that in when you sew it together. And then the last two are, where are we? Last two are 44.5. Therefore, it's 35 along there and 9.5 here. So
now, Mandy in Norfolk says, Kaffe is in the building. Wow, can't wait. So exciting. Mandy, yes, we've all been getting incredibly excited about this. And actually, did you notice walking into the office this morning the amount of colour in what people are wearing?
Producer Paul.
It's beautiful. Yeah, Producer Paul is very colourful today.
He is. He's got full colour today.
He also has all the colour.
He has. He's got all the colour. He's gone for the full colour.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, we've had a picture from Julie. That's the other thing. Message in your quilts. We'd love to see them. This looks like it could be in a magazine.
That's gorgeous.
Look at this. First ever quilt
Oh, wow.
Using Kaffe. This is the thing.
Oh, you can see them there. Oh, it's just lovely. It's the lovely jewel colours. It's that lovely jewel colours, and he's also known for lots of blue and white china.
Yes.
So you've got the lovely mix of the blue. You've also got blue and white behind us here. But yes, it's lovely jewel colours mixed with the blue and white. Lovely, really nice.
It's one of those things, isn't it? My friends and I have a saying, go big or go home.
I like that.
And it's, you know, if you are, I totally respect you for that quilt, for the fact that that is your first quilt. Beautifully done. And, you know, you've gone, yeah, I'm going to embrace this quilting thing, and I'm going to go straight in with fabulous fabrics, beautiful materials, incredible quality.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. If you're going to do it in the best quality that you possibly can. That's what we've got for you today. £249.95. If it is in your basket, please do check it out. Last time we sold out.
I'm not surprised.
Gone.
This is what you have left over. So you get an idea, and that's just showing four of them together. So you get, I mean, there's loads left over. So I'll just put that down here. We don't need that. Now you've got all those pieces together, and there are loads. As you can see, I marked them all up and put them all over there. So I've done exactly the same way, I just don't have to do any more. So now we actually piece it. And you follow the instructions. It is like, it's a jigsaw, isn't it? Yeah. You're just adding bits to it. So you start from the centre bit and you work your way out.
Now, Jess, we have less than 15 minutes. I'm not expecting you to get this done.
No, my goodness me, I'm so sorry.
No, but it's... The cutting on this is a major part of it, so I'm pleased that we got to cover that.
Well, the thing is, then you actually look at it and you just build it outwards. So it tells you in the instructions. I hadn't realised we'd gone so quickly. I'm so sorry.
The hour just flies.
The hour just flies, doesn't it? But then you actually start by sewing from the bits out, and you go out and out and out and out. You just follow the instructions. Then once you've done all of that, you decide how you're actually going to bat it. I mean, how you're actually going to do it, whether you're going to use a spray. We have sprays here. For something like this, I would recommend something like that, unless you've got, use your floor. Make sure you've got...
I'm going to be out in the garden.
Exactly. Well, you need to make sure you've actually got enough space. It's clean as well, also, obviously. Windows open if you're using spray. If you decide to actually use your lovely quilter's pins we've got here as well.
Stock up on another pot.
Yeah, the bendy, I think Paul calls them banana pins. Not Paul. I think John calls banana pins, actually, thinking about it. Whatever you actually want to do, you can. Then you actually set it up how you actually want to, whether you actually want to. You can also send it out to be, to have sort of all sort of prepped for you, and then you can either hand quilt it yourself, machine quilt it yourself, or even send it externally to have somebody else do it, which I think has been done on that one, because that's got that lovely...
It's incredibly uniformly quilted,
really beautifully quilted, and a lovely thread. And because there are loads of different colours in here, you can change your threads.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You can really play with this.
Exactly, you can play with it. That's it. Quilting, the thing about quilting is it's a hobby and it's a passion. So, and it's a very personal thing. So you decide how you want to do it for yourself.
Okay. So how are we doing this? What's the next step?
Okay, next step is, it tells you all those bits, quilt assembly. So you have your fabric here, and so your fabric border B, which is the, where are we? The iCat.
Oh, yes.
I've got those cut out here. All marked up, and you start...
This one. This is your eye-cat. Your eye-catching eye-cat.
Eye-catching eye-cat.
As I like to call it.
So you sew one of your 36s. Here we have one of our 36s.
Aha. And this is now thanks to your organisation.
Yeah.
Please don't cut these strips and not label them. Cut them and label them.
I mean, you can go back and remeasure. As you can see with this one, I was able to cut, so you actually have your sort of seam allowance, so it sort of ends there. Nice. So you sew. Where are we? It is 2 minutes. This is why you need a big table. You sew with your quarter of a seam allowance. Because this hasn't got a reverse, this obviously has. This hasn't, because it's a woven. You think, oh, does it? No, it really doesn't. It really genuinely doesn't. You work out how you actually want that to be, and then you put them right sides facing, pin, and then sew from that end to that end with a quarter seam. Goes like that.
Let's do it.
Shall I do it quickly?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. At least I can sew one seam in.
Yeah. Do you want the iron ready?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just give it a quick press along the edge.
Do you know,
this hour goes so quickly. It really does.
Especially when we're excited.
I know, when we're excited, it's just... I mean, this is the thing about something like this. Take your time, enjoy it, have plenty of breaks. put your radio on. What I do a lot of when I'm doing sewing is actually have I have a phone on in the background. I'm chatting to someone over the speaker, talking about various bits and bobs. Let's move that along. Just make it nice and straight. And also, as you're going along, press as you go. There is nothing more annoying than reaching the end, and it looks.
I've reached the stage now where in my workroom that I've given up. The iron is just up permanently.
Yes. I see.
I've embraced it. Which makes everybody laugh that knows me because they know that I was a bit of an iron phobic before I started.
I love the idea of being an iron phobic.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely hilarious.
But now, embraced it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You also, one of the things I've actually noticed, which is wonderful, if you actually have one of the ironing mats, which have got the grid on.
Oh yes.
They're really useful as well, especially when you're actually ironing and cutting, making sure you've got the right sort of nice straight line.
We've got those on the website for anybody that needs one of those.
I do like those. Right, okay, so we'll just pin here, and I will quickly. I cannot believe this hour's gone so quickly.
Now, we have quilting guests that say, if you are worried, pin. I'm not really a pinner, so I'm just going to go for it.
With a 1/4 ounce seam allowance, I would pin.
I would pin. Yeah,
I would pin. Also because it's stripes. Because it's stripes, you want to make sure it's. And this is something. If you've invested in this, you're not going to sort of do it as a sort of it'll do.
No, this isn't an it'll do.
This isn't an it'll do.
This is showstopper.
It is. It's just divine.
You see, this is one that you have to have out. You can't make this and then put it in a cupboard.
No, although you do store them. But yes, no, this is something you have out and you get it sent out to be washed.
Do you know one of the things I want to know from Kaffe?
Yes, what?
Is what does he do with all... I mean, he's got decades and decades of makes.
Yes.
What, you can't keep all those, surely.
There must be an archive somewhere.
Is there?
Wouldn't you have an archive?
I don't know.
I have an archive.
I want to find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Right,
so what do you do with yours? Because I know, a lot of people, by the time that you've given to every member of your family...
Oh, charity. That's a good one. My mother always used to have charity quilts. And also you hang them, as you say, you hang them on the wall.
Oh,
it's like, we used to have book furniture, where you have bookcases, which heat the house.
Yes.
So
I like to think of it as insulation.
This is the same sort of thing, isn't it? It is exactly the same sort of thing.
I know that one of the things reading Kaffe's book is that he says that things should have function as well as beauty.
Yeah.
Big on
Well,
things
that's what
having
quilts
function.
are. It's to keep the house. It's to keep you warm at night. That's what a quilt is.
Yeah. We forget that because we get so wrapped up in the beauty of it. We forget that actually use them.
Yeah.
If the cat sits on it, that's okay.
It's being used by the cat.
Yeah.
Keeping the cat warm.
Yeah. But that's why, sometimes I think it's a shame to hide these away just in a bedroom.
Yeah. Oh, this is something you definitely have out on the sofa. I mean, can you imagine this in winter by a fire?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because although we've said summery tones on this, but actually because you've got the warmth of those oranges and those purples, this is autumn as well.
And also Christmas. If you look at the lovely colours, especially the lovely floor at the back.
There are reds in there. It has every colour.
It does.
That's the thing. And when you have every colour, it's every season. Just brilliant. Have you got yours yet? £249.95. When you get it, the only extra thing that you need to think about is what colour thread you're going to use, because everything else is in the kit. Your instructions. You've got nearly 3 metres of backing in here. Was it 274 centimetres or something of backing
like that.
there?
Yeah.
A huge amount there, plus everything for your patchwork quilt front, and of course you've also got your batting. That alone is a massive cost on a quilt this size.
It is massive, but it's really good quality as well.
We haven't skimped.
No.
We've not skimped at all. You've got 80-20 cotton polyester in there, so you've got a beautiful, beautiful weight and quality in there. Everything about this screams quality. If you are quilting, if this is your passion, you deserve the best. I truly believe that. There's no point in working with fabrics that don't bring you joy. This is all about bringing you joy. This is. We say it's a weekend project. I think maybe one weekend do your cutting out, next weekend do the sewing.
As you can see from me just now, it took me an hour to do that. I know this because I'm nervous and it's very exciting. It's snip off the ends. So just do this bit.
I'm going to...
So that is number 1.
Wow, we've done it.
And I'll start doing some more on my break. I'll do number 2 and work my way out.
Brilliant.
Shall I carry on?
And so then you do what, the opposite side?
Yeah, you do the opposite side. So then you have this, and then you add these bits there, and then it tells you on the picture here. Let's have a look. Really easy to follow.
Okay.
So it tells you in the instructions, add this, and you think you're not too sure, you double check, and then you look at the picture. So you put the sides on, then you put those bits here, and then you add these sides, and you just add and add and add and add. And then when you've got your sides, then you think about quilting it.
Lovely.
Putting the actual batting on.
Brilliant. The instructions, full instructions.
Yeah.
It is an absolute joy.
It is.
Do you know what? If that were my first quilt, oh, I'd be in heaven.
How impressed would you be with yourself?
We've had some images actually. I mean, we've already seen a quilt that one of our viewers made as her first quilt that was absolutely stunning. Now, the last quilt that we brought to wear in terms of a kit of this size and magnitude was this.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the Half Moon. And who made this? Kirsten. That is phenomenal.
That is just amazing. I love that.
Lovely.
Another stripes, you see. Stripes, got to win the stripes.
And then we've got some cushions as well to show you. Who made these? Lorraine?
Oh, look at all
Look
those
at
cave...
that.
Oh, we've got those cave prints in the wall hanging behind us.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
I think that cushion's from the book in the second show.
Oh,
Fairly
yes.
certain it is.
We've got 3 minutes left. What we can do in 3 minutes?
What we can do in 3 minutes is we can quickly stick this one on, if
Okay.
you want. Just do that very quickly. That's the thing about
Good
this.
go
Once
here.
you've actually started, you've cut all your bits out, just take your time and add as you go.
It's quite methodical, isn't it?
It
And
is.
sort of therapeutic. Oh, yeah, do this bit, do this bit. But these, I mean, this particular strip is quite wide, isn't it? So all of a sudden, you've grown this quilt quite considerably.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just once you've actually done the first bit, then you just add and add and add and add. But as you go, once you get these bits, you then press your seams open, as we have on the strips. Just press them open. Add the next series of strips, press them open, and just keep going.
It's the mastery of that combination of colour, texture. I wonder if it can be taught, or if this just is, you've either got it or you haven't. I think
it's in this. It's like it's like you create a body of work from years of actually looking at stuff. So when you're a craft person, you start off in a certain way and then you change as you go along. So when you look at his early work of sort of paintings and then the yarn and then moving into needlework and then when you started working with Lisa Prior-Lucy doing all those beautiful quilts, and it's just a different way of looking at things. So how you actually have gone from A all the way through to this.
Hey. I'm waving because guess who has come in the studio?
Oh, this is very exciting.
I'm amazed that you're still standing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kaffe Fassett in the studio, not just in the building. Oh, he's here. This is so exciting.
It's so colourful.
I know. Well, yes. We're meant to be finishing off this.
I know.
We've been
Not gonna
distracted,
finish this
massively
off.
distracted.
We have.
Next hour, we do get to actually sit down and have a good chat. Have you seen the pile of questions I've got?
Yes, you have done your research.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know that 2 hours is going to be enough.
Probably not.
Don't miss out on this quilt. Last time we bought a Kaffe Fassett quilt of this magnitude to where it sold out. There was no doubt about it, and we were such a new channel then. It was joyous because we realised then actually how many quilters there are out there that absolutely love Kaffe Fassett. You can get this today, $249.95. Do not miss out on this. It's on the website for you. Go grab it. You are not going to want to miss the next hour. Well, you're not going to miss the whole morning, actually, because Kaffe is here. We've got 2 hours with him, and we're going to be doing his makes in between. So do join us in just a few minutes, because, yes, he's here. We'll see you in just a minute. Thank you, Jo.
That's okay. Bye.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
So today I'm going to show you how to do a double stitch. Now you would use a double stitch at the start and the end of your sewing to secure your threads rather than using a really big knot. You're going to want to take your needle through the front of your fabric first and then come out back through the front. So I'm using really big stitches at the moment so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to leave a tail before you then repeat that in and out motion. So you can see that's 1. I'm going to go back through again and that's 2. So you can see I've done 2 stitches in the same place. That's giving me my double stitch. You would then do whatever stitch it is that you're going to go on to do. So I'm just going to do a quick running stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to do my double stitch at the very end of my stitch there. So it's repeating the process. So I'm going in, and then back out, in, and then back out, before clipping my threads. So obviously you would clip these closer when you get to finishing your garment. So there you have it.
Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts.
The Sewing Quarter website is simple and easy to use. You can view a live broadcast of the show on our homepage. Get instant access to our online shop, which has a wide range of wonderful products for you to choose from. You can also enjoy a selection of projects and guides which we have on offer to help you enhance your skills and gain valuable tips. Watch the live shows and you can buy the product which is currently being shown on air. You can even message the studio to ask our presenters or team any questions you might have. Below, you'll find all the products from today's show for you to look at and purchase. On the right of the screen, next to today's products, you will find our simple program guide listing all upcoming shows. So, join us today at sewingquarter.com. Join us on Facebook. Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more. Britain's favourite sewing show is coming to London and we'll be there with bells on. The Great British Sewing Bee Live is taking place over 4 days from the 21st to the 24th of September at XL London. If you're a hobbyist dressmaker who's been inspired by what you've seen on the Sewing Bee, a seasoned professional looking for new ideas, or just fancy taking dressmaking up for the first time, this is the event for you. We are proudly sponsoring the Demo Theatre with live performances from designer, author and former Sewing Bee contestant Jennifer Taylor throughout the weekend. And with our discount code SQD, you'll get £1.50 off your ticket. So what are you waiting for? Grab your tickets now and join the buzz at the Great British Sewing Bee Live this September.
For this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do a running stitch, which is a really simple row of stitches that is creating a nice straight line for you. So we're going to start with the back of the fabric. We're going to bring the needle up through the back to the front and we're going to make a small stitch. Now the size of this stitch would really depend on what it is that you're doing, but I'm just going to keep this to a sort of small to medium sized stitch so you can see where I'm going. So you can see I've gone in and out of the fabric and I'm going to bring the needle back through to the front with the same distance of the stitch I've just created. I'm going to go back into the fabric and then out of the fabric. So this is great if you need to sew something at home. There's also another quick method where you can also just use the needle and make several stitches at once by piercing the fabric as you go along. So you can see that I've got 3 stitches there on my needle already, and now I just need to pull that through. So there we have a running stitch.
Well, welcome back. Now, when Jess and I were getting all excited because Kaffe was arriving into the studio this morning, we were talking about how do you introduce a man whose career and life has been as colourful as his quilts. We didn't know, so I will just go as far as to say, Kaffe, good morning. Thank you so much for coming in to join us.
I hope I live up to that introduction.
I think the proof is in the pudding. It's all around us. The studio looks incredible, absolutely incredible. Kaffe, your life, colourful, abundant, rich in all aspects. What would you say was the biggest influence on your style?
Wow. I would think the biggest single influence is the decorative arts of the world, really. Because I travel the world and I go to every museum I can get time to go to. When I'm giving a talk in some little town somewhere, where's your museum? And I go and I look at what people have done in the past, and that just serves up riches over and over. So I would say really looking at old carpets, old embroideries, the way people made hats, the way they made lace, you know, I mean, some people made lace with wonderful colors and things like that. And so all of these things are just grist to my mill, you know, and you go home with a million ideas.
But you never seem to forget. That's what really struck me in reading your books. Your memory for something that inspired you. There was a Christmas tree that you'd seen a designer do, and then 50 years later you say, oh, this inspired me, but how do you remember this?
Yeah, well, how do you remember it? That's very good. Well, you know, I'm terrible. When people say, how many ounces of mohair are in that sweater? I haven't a clue. Because I never count. I don't have the exact kind of mind that a lot of people have, you know, where they know how many centimeters of this and that are whatever. The things that I remember are visual. So if something floods my imagination with gorgeous color, I'll never forget it. You know, those impressions I'm a very visual person. I finally, at this great age, I've worked out that it comes to me visually. And if it doesn't, you know, if somebody presents something in black and white, it's very hard for me to remember.
I'm completely with you on that. I mean, they were laughing at me upstairs. I've had a look through, over 30 books, Kaffe. I mean, when they say prep for Kaffe's show, over 30 books, where do you even start? But I wanted to start with your quilt books, because we've had these on the shows. And the one that has just been released is Quilts in Ireland.
Right.
And what
you're jumping the gun. It hasn't even been released yet.
Oh, really?
It's only going to come out to the public in September. So you know you've got a big exclusive here.
Hey, you heard it here first on 7 Quarter. Now, the way your life seems to work, just the most incredible coincidences. You know, you go to an art museum, you see a stunning piece of art, there's only one piece that grabs you, and then sort of within a month or so, you're sitting down to dinner with that artist. You know, you meet a film director, you say, hey, do you know what? You should really read this book. And you give it Midnight Cowboy, Oscar-winning film. Later, you know, these things happen to you. And you had a postcard of a beautiful house in Ireland.
Right.
And did that inspire your quilts?
No, but what it did was it made me think there's somebody out there who's got the imagination to take a little Irish house and paint it with little flowers and little insignias around the door and everything, and make it into a charming, beautiful thing. And I thought, I want to go and find houses like that. I thought, I haven't a chance in the world of ever finding the actual house.
But this is it. You go and you stay with your friend in Ireland, and you start to recce for places to photograph your book. And what do you find?
And we looked at a million houses, and suddenly there's this one little house on this little godforsaken road, and it just spoke to me. I just thought, there's something charming about that house. And so we went and we said, we're going to photograph a quilt here. And the people were inside, and they opened the door, and they said, oh, our father painted this house, and here's a picture of him, and there was the postcard.
And he was in. So there's the postcard there. And there you are, stood in the door. Now, it was
Yeah.
weather beaten. I mean, this postcard was a few years old by now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And actually, I've got one of my many pinnings here is actually. Oh no, that's another favourite one. Oh, here it is. That is the quilt that you put with that house.
And that's the most sensitive, gorgeous quilt, isn't it? Just all those little pastel colors and how beautifully they work with now faded decoration around the door. It's all changed kind of aesthetic, but it's still exquisite. And it went so well with that quilt. And
Just stunning.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. And that's my favorite quilt in the book. It's not, one that I didn't make, but Eliza Lucy created that quilt. But she did such a beautiful job. And she used the colors so beautifully and the fabrics.
Now, you say this was one that you didn't make.
Yeah.
Is that in terms of design or in terms of you actually didn't stitch every piece of it?
No, we were given fabrics, and there's like a few people, like Brandon Mabley also comes and makes a quilt, and several other people contribute. I do most of them, but that's just one that I didn't do, and I'm very jealous of it because it's exquisite. You know, it's so wonderful.
Now, you've said this about your students, that they sometimes come to you and they say, but you know, how do I do this colour? And but actually, you said that sometimes your students inspire you.
No, absolutely. I mean, somebody will be crying beside a piece saying, "I can't get it," and I'm looking at it thinking, "Damn your eyes! It's beautiful." You know, you've just stumbled on expensive colors. You know, you've got a color scheme that people would kill for, and you don't recognize it. You know, you don't believe in yourself enough to see that that's possibly very good.
But that's one of the first paragraphs in your autobiography, is that you say, you know, when I look back on my life, I'm surprised at how much confidence I've had in myself, which is wonderful, because I think so many people are crippled by a lack of confidence.
You've absolutely put your finger on the point. You know, I often start a workshop or a lecture with just that sentence, that where did Brandon and I get the confidence that we have? Both of us had never went to art college. I mean, I went to an art school for a very brief time and buggered off.
Yeah, you know? Went, go to England, thank you very much.
I just walked out, you know. So I didn't even finish the course. But we both have this kind of innate confidence in ourselves. And we just know if someone doesn't like it, somebody else will, you know.
But is it most important that you like it?
Yes. Of course, you have to keep reaching inside to make something that is the best you can do for that moment. And just for that moment, you know, you'll get better the next moment. After you finish that one thing, you'll analyze it, you'll look at it, you'll live with it for a bit, and you realize it could have just been a little juicier, a little more high in color, or a little bit lower in color. Maybe I should have put the stoppers on and made it a little more subtle. You know, and all of those things come to you as you progress. But don't rush it. You know, don't worry. You know, we all have our first pieces that we started out with that are a bit awkward.
Oh, mine's so wobbly. But it's mine, and I love it. And then I can see my progression. I think there's a wonderful quote that you say an artist friend of yours said, and I can't remember it exactly, but it was along the lines of, just create, because your weakest skill will become...
You have done your homework, yes, absolutely.
Oh, you're going to be my mastermind specialist topic, let me tell you. But your weakest thing will become your character,
your style.
Work.
Exactly. Don't worry about developing a style. You know, just do the best you can do, and the kind of quirky weaknesses that you have that are very personal to you will become your style. Like, it evolves. You don't have to think about that. You don't have to be self-conscious in that way. You know, just try to be as loose and free and flowing as you possibly can, and swim in the sensuality of the color that you're involved with. You know, just enjoy it to the hilt. Take it as far as it can go.
I wish someone had told my 15-year-old me that when I was studying art, that would have made such a difference.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess what we try and urge people here to do is that it doesn't matter if it's perfect, but if it's yours and it's made, take pride in that. Now, I've pinpointed a few just beauty. I mean, there are 20 different makes in each of your books.
Well, I'm very glad that you picked that one. I find this particularly kind of jewel-like and interesting. And we found this beautiful old room in Ireland that was painted like old, it was sort of a cross between aubergine and grapes, you know, just dark maroon room with these great, you know, portraits on the wall with their gold frames.
If I move it, I can actually...
And it's slightly shabby, you know, which I love. You know, I love that kind of old, worn elegance. And it was a perfect place to photograph this very bright jewel quilt.
I'm going to skip to this one. Now, worth saying, this book at the moment is exclusive here at Sewing Quarter. But this is what I mean. You went out recceing for places to photograph your book. Who else could find an electric blue bike?
And up a little tiny side street, you know, like I just glanced up this little alley and I thought, I see a tiny bit of orange up there. That looks interesting. And I rushed up there and here's this exquisite fruit and vegetable shop that this girl had put together. Wonderful old retro sign saying fresh start, you know, at the top. And she had painted her bicycle bright blue, and that was sitting in front with these gorgeous carrots that smelled so sweet and lovely. And so those carrots are sitting there. And I said, can we hang quilts on your walls? And it's slightly raining and, you know, everything else is miserable. And this is like the golden sunshine of the Mediterranean or something, you know. And she was so nice. She loved it. Did
she know who you were?
No, she hadn't a clue, but she just loved the quilts. She just clicked into us right away and just enjoyed it. And so, you know, we're sending her a book now, you know, which is lovely. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, we've got an overview of the book. I mean, I could spend an hour just looking through the book, but we've only got you for 2, and we've got a lot. So here's a brief synopsis, if you will, of some of these books. Now, this is the Ireland book, just full of beauties. For me, the standout is this house, this beautiful house that you went in search of and found, against all the odds, found.
Yeah.
But also in here, there is a beauty of wildlife. They were in the rain, bless you. I love that you actually have coordinated your umbrella there.
Yeah.
Someone's thought about this.
Yeah.
And you know, some of the leaf prints in here mixed in with the artwork is just stunning, absolutely stunning. I mean, just look at this. Just gorgeous.
I almost fell off into this river while I was trying to adjust that quilt.
Oh, God. Oh, hang on. We've got some more. So it is worth saying, with each of these, they laugh at me here, Kaffe, an awful lot, because I say your books are coffee table books, absolutely, because the inspiration is in there, but also they are functional. And this is a big thing, isn't it, with you? Form and function. Yeah. So you've got the beauty for half.
Exactly.
And
we want to always find a location that's lush and colorful and it's going to show off the quilts and explain the quilts in a way, because the aesthetic in the quilt has something to do with where we place it in the world. But also, it should be practical. You should be able to sit down and make these things and have very clear instructions.
And here it is.
Yeah.
And there is this one last little picture in here that just made me laugh. Oh, where is it gone? Was it in here? Oh, here. Now, I know humour is important for you, and I love this.
Yeah. Well, this is Brandon Mabley, who is always with me, and we're always working on projects together. And he just slipped off behind these big leaves and, you know, appeared like an elf in the woods.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. This is $23.95, available here. It is your brand new book. How very exciting. We've got a few copies to signed as well that we are giving away as a competition. So if you buy anything Kaffe related today, you'll go into a prize draw. So that's very exciting. Thank you for doing that. Right. Now, En Provence is the next one that I'm going to look at here. Right. Now, When we look at your designs, yes, you design so many of your beautiful collections,
Right.
but you do collaborate as well.
Yes. Yes.
So in here we've got some of yours.
Yeah.
We've also got some of Brandon's.
Brandon Mabley, yeah.
But also who keeps making an appearance. And in this book we actually meet a little bit more about him. These are Philip Jacobs' floral designs.
See, we're like the Three Musketeers. We're the Cave
love that.
Collective, the three
Brilliant.
of us. And they were looking for another designer, and I said, I know somebody who does the most beautiful, classic furnishing fabrics. And he, because he had this wonderful archive, this huge cave full of old tablecloths and curtains and things like that. And he would take these wonderful flowers and shell forms and things from those curtains and make them into artwork. And so I say, he's the perfect person for us. But I do his colors. And when he said to me, I love to do the painting, but I don't really like to do colorways, I went, well, guess what? I do. I was so excited, because then I was able to really express myself. And also to then make all of his fabrics work with our collections, color-wise.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
It's always so stunning.
Yeah.
And because, stripes and patterns, they come through very heavily. But to then mix those with the florals is just fun. And I think that's why it's making timeless classics.
Yeah.
Because none of these things go out of fashion.
Well, that's it. I mean, and when you say timeless, it's true. I mean, he's taking things from pre-Victorian times and Victorian times, or the 30s or whatever, wherever he finds a good, wonderful, classic kind of print, he will produce it. And he brings it to me in generic colors, and then I fill in my kind of color schemes.
Now, talking of color schemes, Quilts en Provence, this goes back to your memory again.
Yeah.
Travelling around Italy, you remembered a colour.
Yeah.
That ochre.
What I remembered was a whole town that somebody said is shades of pink and red, and I went, "What?" That's like my dream. It's my imagination come true. And so we drove through this town very briefly, but it stayed in my mind that there would be a whole town that would have a color scheme. And then when we went back to it, it actually had a lot more ochre, but it was all the colors of the earth, the siennas and the ochres and things of the earth around there. Yeah, I mean, like that cliff was just solid, kind of apricot color.
Yeah.
And then
wonderful.
we made quilts that kind of echoed those colors and put them on the background. It was just fabulous.
You couldn't be cold in a place like that, could
No.
you? With a warmth of colour like that.
That's it.
You're always warm.
Golds and pinks and rusts. I mean, it was. You were spoiled for choice. That's one of my favorite places.
Really?
Isn't that a wonderful wall? The texture and color, and that little funny checkerboard quilt just looks gorgeous on that wall.
So these quilts, these were made for the book
That's
rather
right.
than the other way around.
That's right.
Because I know that the Italian book, it was the other way around. You went and found locations for the quilts you'd made.
Well, it's sort of a toss-up.
Okay.
Well, what we do is we go and we recce a place and we think about it, and then we say, right, that place has lots of possibilities.
Yeah.
It's got pastel passages, and it's got rich color, and it's got kind of contrast, black and white. It's got everything that we need. And then we go and we make our quilts. And we like to make our quilts in lots of different moods, so that, that little pastel lady who never would touch any high color doesn't get offended. She's got her little bit, and somebody else who loves, dark, strange, masculine quilts has something for them, and everything in between.
Fabulous. We've got lots of questions from viewers as well. Laura, has asked, is there a room in your house that isn't full of colour?
Yes, Brandon's apartment downstairs is very beige.
Beige?
Yes,
You
it
love
is.
beige
It
in your
is
house?
actually very off-white. But it's very restful, and it has beautiful light.
Okay, we'll let him
I
off
go down there
page
when
then.
I need a little vacation from all my high colors.
Do you know, actually, one of our producers yesterday, she said, "I wonder if Kaffe ever needs to go and sit in a white room." Just. I said, "Yeah, but white is all the colours. So then you have all the colours."
Well, listen, I showed a picture of one of my very ornate rooms, and this woman said, "Where do you go when you have a headache?" Well, I actually get totally stimulated by color. It makes me feel good.
Yes.
When I see wonderful color, I just think, oh, there is a God.
That's it, isn't it?
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Lisa has a question too. Is there a colour combination you don't like? She says she doesn't like green, doesn't use it.
Yeah, you know, sometimes there's colors that are clashing in an unpleasant way. I mean, there can be clashes that are thrilling and jazzy and to be sought after. But there are certainly people who do a beautiful kind of sensitive colorway and then throw in an element that is too contrasty.
Right.
And that kind of breaks the spell that they've
Right.
created.
Okay.
And that's sacrilegious. You
Well,
know,
'cause you
know,
talk-
and like putting the wrong border on a quilt. Very often people will put a solid dark border on a very sensitive quilt, or something that's too light, so it shows up the quilting, and that's very sad because it should all be of a piece, and the border should echo what's inside the quilt. I feel.
Because you talk about finding that quest to find the imperfect juxtaposition. I think they were your words of that colour.
Yeah.
And so when you go about creating a quilt, can you talk us through you have I've got another question as well, but just if I've just finished this very quickly, you have you hang a sheet and then put the pieces on the quilt together to see how
That's
the
right.
layout?
Yeah, I have a flannel wall that I've created that is a neutral color, and you can stick when you cut your piece of fabric, you can stick them on, so you can create the whole quilt and adjust it if it isn't right, and then stand back and have a look at it, and that's very important. But proportion of color is very, very important. But
Okay.
you got your question coming through.
Oh no, I've got a question. Yes, I have in my ear. It's from Sonia. Oh, which of your projects would you put in a time capsule and why? It's a great question. Well done, our son.
Tell her I'll have to take a rain check on that. I'll have to think about it. I have to give that some serious thought. Yeah.
Well, you know, there are a few decades of work to consider here.
Well, exactly.
Aren't they? So my next
Exactly,
question is,
yeah.
where do you put it all?
Well, there's no room to live in my house. Let's just put it that way. Every corner, every chest of drawers, every closet, the whole upstairs attic is just crammed with stuff.
Is it? Are you one of those people that loves to to the untrained eye, it would look disorganized, but actually for you, you know where everything is?
More or less. But the thing is, people tidy up on me.
What? How rude.
Yes. And so then I don't know what anything is. And I mean, so I dread cleaners coming. I know it has to happen. You know, it's like King Canute and the waves. You know, you've got to stop this thing. But I just, you know, I make a mess wherever I go, but I know where things are in that mess.
Oh, I hear you.
I can reach
Yeah.
for that pair of scissors or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Because I read somewhere that you actually had a fear as a child that you wouldn't manage to be organised.
That's right.
As an adult.
You have done your homework.
Is that
That's very
still
true. I
something
can
that
remember
affects
saying to
you?
my mother, "How will I ever be neat enough to be a grown-up person?" You know,
I'm still wondering myself.
Yes, I know. Because I knew that it wasn't in me. I mean, that's the thing. Well, it's very interesting because Liza Lucy, who I teach with sometimes, when we go to Houston, there was one woman who arrived, and she was very, can we say anal? Anyway, she was very together, and everything was in little crisp piles. And she had like her dark fabrics and her light fabrics, and everything was labeled. And Liza said, you know, one of the things about creating is you want to make a nice creative mess, and then you'll spot some color. And she just went like this little pile, and she just tossed it like a salad. And she said, now you'll spot a little bit of orange at the bottom of that pile, which will be the perfect thing. Well, this woman nearly had a stroke. But it's true. I mean, a great scrabble of fabric can give you wonderful ideas, and you'll spot possibility. Because what we're trying to do is enter that kind of unconscious part of ourselves that is very creative and that grabs possibilities out of the air. You know, like, for instance, somebody might walk in this room in a few minutes who has a combination of clothes on or a hat or something that just, wow, that little combination of colors is exactly what I'm looking for the next project. You know, it's those kind of things where things just arrive in the ether for you.
And it's finding those combinations. I mean, you talk about collections, and it made me smile because in one of your books there's a beautiful photograph of a collections of stones.
Yeah.
And I know that you were brought up in California on the beaches, and it just made me smile because my 3-year-old son is obsessed with stones. They are his treasures.
Yeah.
And he has this pile of stones. We are not allowed to touch it at all. They are his treasures. He doesn't have money. This is the best that he can manage. But growing up in Big Sur, were you heavily affected by nature?
Oh yeah. And of course, you know, that world of stones is such an incredibly mysterious and rich world, and it's so subtle. I mean, you know, one woman yelled out in one of my lectures, "If you only could work with one color, what would it be?" And I thought, well, if I was restricted to one color, why would you ever do that to me? But if I had to, and then I just said gray. Gray would be the color, because I thought of beets, and I love it when somebody comes to my workshops and does a very subtle quilt in shades of gray. I'm totally thrilled.
Really?
Yeah.
But you did go through a white phase.
I went through a totally white phase where I wasn't interested in color at all.
That seems
I
strange.
painted white china on white cloths against white walls, and that's all that interested me. I didn't want any interruption of color.
You'd have to get the cleaner in then, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
That white.
Yeah, I had to be organized. Yeah.
Now, Italy is the next book that we're going to have a little look at here. Now, this a riot of colour. What have I written here? Yeah. I've written something to remind myself. Oh no, I've asked that already. The beauty of this, and I did ask you earlier, was the location found before the quilts or vice versa?
Right.
Because
this is Cinque Terre, which is these fishing villages on the coast of Italy, where you had the most beautiful classic architecture and rough old fishermen's houses and things like that. But look at how perfect that is with our quilts, the texture of the quilt. And it echoes in the color with these beautiful bits of architecture.
It's beautiful. It's almost like sort of a Fibonacci sequence, isn't it? It's just divine. But you see, then this.
Yeah.
And I looked at this and I thought, please tell me you had the. Is this just one of those magical coincidences that happened to you that you did blue and white quilt?
Well, I saw these blue and white things when we did our first recce, and I thought, there's a lot of blue and white down there, and it's very fresh, and it's very. So I went home and I just made. This is very difficult for me, just to do blue and white.
Well, that's
restrict
why I
myself.
kind of
Boy,
highlighted
I
it.
had to really beat myself up just to stick to blue and white. But I thought, you know, the awnings and the things were so beautiful, and the coverings of the boats. Why wouldn't you just do blue and white? Let's just see what happens if we just hold back all this tide of color and just stick to something crisp and strong like that. So it was fun.
But you've got, I mean, blue and white china is a bit of a thing for you as well,
is.
isn't it? So,
Yeah.
I mean, here's here's a quick video, because there's so much in these. I mean, the artwork is in the quilts, it's in the photography, but again, loving function.
Yeah.
You've got your 20 inspirational quilts, then how to make them in the back. And that's the same for all of these books. Sure. Half of it is your inspiration, the other half is, and now let's get making it.
And this is like a great sampler, this quilt, called Chiaroscuro, where you get these wonderful big chunks of geometry. But you see, when we went to this beach, we went in the winter, and there were no umbrellas.
So they wouldn't have been out.
And so when we got to the umbrellas in the summer, oh my God!
Well, that's just it, because you've got that green in there, you've got that orange in there.
I know.
But your life is a riot of incredible coincidences.
Yeah, serendipity.
It just happens to you. In one of your books, you just talk about, thank you, angels, looking out for me there.
No, absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
you are...
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a quilt that we made. We had no idea where we were going to put it. And then when we arrived at the beach and there was these beautiful stones, there are stones again in these gorgeous, warm terracotta colors and grays and things that were just perfect for that quilt.
Oh, on a dog walk the other day, my 3-year-old asked me, Mummy, how are rocks made? And you just go, how do I explain to a 3-year-old the concept of who has no concept of time or size how a rock is made? Just impossible.
It's a great quote.
Absolutely. Wikipedia. But there we go. There is that quilt. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's almost 4-in-1, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that's a quilt that could give you an idea for a lot of things. You could take a lot of different patterns, put them together, but also you could just take one pattern out of that and just do the whole quilt with just the one pattern if you wanted to.
And this is where you get all the instructions as to how to make this. And similarly, if it's a pink page, then it's one of my favourite. Yes, it is. I love this one. Not just its name, but I've got to think about circles at the moment.
Yeah, and that was fun, because it was all these circles on the bright colors, and so we found where were we going to put that, because it was so complex. And then there's this little marketplace full of bangles and big sunglasses, with weird and wonderful colors.
I've got
so it was
there.
Yeah.
I found it. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, look at all these sunglasses.
Brilliant.
They were just perfect color for that. It's called Losing My Marbles.
Yeah, that is a standout one for me. For where I'm at the moment,
it was one of the most popular quilts in the whole book.
Really? Oh, it can be yours, $22.95. You can be losing your marbles with Kaffe quite happily. Oh, now Ireland. I just need to give you a little update on Ireland. Halfway through the stock already.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting a jump on the market, which is great.
Well, just stunning. Now, we've got a competition. If you're buying anything Kaffe today, then you will go into a prize draw to win a signed copy. So if you've already bought one, great, you can give that one to your friend and keep your signed copy. Right. And these are so precious. Jess earlier, do you know she's brought in a book that her mother was given, signed by you back in 1992.
Right.
I think she's hoping that you might sign it again.
Yeah.
Update. Check your signature.
Sure.
Was it
I do
real?
that. I often do that. Because people bring a book that they don't even realize was signed. And they've had it for years, So I sign it again.
I love this one as well. This is another standout one for me.
Yeah.
It's colorways.
Yeah. And that's such a simple quilt to do.
Really?
You just take these simple, it's all one block, which is just a diamond.
Yeah.
And the diamonds slot into each other, so you can get these patterns slitting into each other. And it's quite subtle greens and pinks. I like that very much.
Oh, it's just beautiful. From a completely nosy point of view, because I'm fascinated by your home and the paintings, because nothing seems to be left unpainted as well. You are an incredible artist, as well as textile designer, knitter. You're known for so many different things. What do you actually paint in?
What
medium?
Oh, I paint in acrylic.
Okay.
I used to paint in oils, but
it takes so long to dry.
It takes time to dry, exactly.
And smells.
I'm impatient. I've got places to go and people to meet. So I mean, when I sit down to paint, I'm quick.
I mean, that's another thing, that instant gratification. Jess was saying, sometimes I find quilting just takes too long, and it's interesting to hear you say, no, I want that instant hit, that instant fix as well.
Yeah, because you bypass the analytical brain. That's one of the things I say to people in my classes. They take forever because they put up a piece. No, that's wrong. Take it down. Put up another piece. And I say, nothing can be wrong. Put up a lot of stuff and then edit.
Right.
When you see the relationships, that's what's important. Don't, be trying to be perfect with each element right from the beginning. Be a slob, and then you can edit.
Brilliant. We've had so many questions, Kaffe. I mean, as we're going, you're answering a lot of them anyway. But thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming in. If there's a standout that we haven't, that we will try and get around to them. But thank you so much. Pauline's commented, what an amazing guy. Kaffe, you're a legend. And the word inspirational is another word that keeps coming up. so many people saying that you're an inspiration. But what struck me is, in your lifetime, you've also been surrounded by incredibly inspirational people too.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I'm glad that I can be an inspiration because my past is just filled with wonderful, inspiring people. You know, great artists and great craftsmen who were just doing things and working with their hands and having, you know, sometimes just watching a good cook in the kitchen or
that's art in itself, isn't it?
Oh, totally. You know, that instinct and that, you know, a touch of this and a touch of that and put it together and ooh, tastes good. You know, that I mean, I think it has a big parallel to color, you know, cooking and music too. People who make music, I'm fascinated with, you know, who have an ear for the pitch of music and all of that. And they make our lives so rich.
But do you like to listen to music whilst you quilt?
Yes,
or is it
but
the radio?
I love to listen to interviews and words, and particularly since I'm a foreigner coming from California, I find it fascinating to be in these rich aisles for accents and stories, and you know the way the Welsh speak, and the Scots and the Irish and the Geordies and Yorkshire and all of these wonderful accents. You know.
Producer Paul wants to know if you like the Brummie accent.
I do. I love it. I used to find it very flat, but actually I find it fascinating now because I'm listening to the thoughts that are coming out of that, which, you know, like in America we have the Southern drawl, which usually, you know, when you grow up, you have this prejudice that it's thick as hell. You know, people who have that accent just couldn't possibly have an interesting thought. If you actually listen, there's a lot of poetry and beautiful thinking that comes out of the South. It's a very rich place for stories and for imaginings and philosophy. And so one has to just, but anyway, the accents of this country I just love. And so I listen to the radio a great deal, and I listen to interviews, I listen to people's stories. And also I love plays and poetry.
Well, this was what made me laugh. I worked for the Royal Shakespeare Company for 4 years,
right.
And I remember somebody saying, "Well, of course, Shakespeare would have had a Birmingham accent," and this big Shakespearean fan nearly falling off their seat. He would never have had a Birmingham accent. What are you talking about? It's like, well, it's like 20 miles down the road.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have had a Midland accent.
Yeah.
But I know you're a big fan of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And you actually were lucky, I say lucky enough, I think the RSC was lucky to have you actually design for them.
Well, I felt incredibly lucky and blessed. You know, when Greg Doran called me up and he said, "I'd like you to design as you like it." And I thought, oh, that sounds wonderful. And then immediately in my mind, I saw Elizabethan costumes and Elizabethan embroidery. And, you know, because it's such a rich period for beautiful prints and beautiful little beading and lace and all the folderol and the elegance. And then he said, "I see it like a stumpwork box." And I thought, perfect.
Yes.
That's exactly what's in my mind. And so I went out and I got big furnishing fabrics and things. So the clothes looked like they were made out of fabrics. That, you know, like little dolls on the stage, you know, that were dressed in marvelous fabrics of the period. It was wonderful. And I knitted things. I made rugging. I did all sorts of
huge cushions.
textures. Yeah, and huge cushions. I sat and they said,
during rehearsals?
Yeah, we said we can paint these, you know, quickly to look like embroidery. I said, no, I'm going to embroider them. So I sat and I made these big Shakespearean flowers. And then they were on stage for the lovers to lounge on.
Oh,
it was wonderful.
fabulous.
And I just sat making them while I listened to the play over and over and over, that beautiful language going through my head.
It's like learning another language, isn't it?
Totally.
When you listen to it, the more you listen to it, the more you understand. But
Yes.
I'm glad that you did authentically make those flowers, because I know that with their costumes, having worked as a dresser there, there are no zips, let me tell you. They are laced up, those bodices, and when you've got a quick change and you've got to get someone out of one and into their next in seconds, you're wishing for a zip.
Well, you know, when I went to the room where they make the costumes, and all the costume makers were there, and they said, we want to just congratulate you for putting it in period. And I said, oh, I thought you'd be upset that you have to work harder. And they said, are you kidding? They said, our last production was up-to-date black suits. And we hated it. But we know how to do bustles and, you know, bodices and all of that stuff and the underwear that goes with it and everything. So they were in seventh heaven.
I know exactly the time
job.
frame that you were there because I was working there then.
Right,
so
right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Quilts in Morocco.
Yeah.
For me, this is about the shoes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
it was.
the
Can you
shoes.
imagine going into Morocco with our quilts and finding? See, these are
perfect.
shoes, a rack of shoes that was just exactly like the quilt. that
It was
we were gonna
made
show.
for it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
absolutely made for it. But this is another place that you said, because this is photographed in Fez.
Yeah.
And you said that this was a place that was talked about with reverence
Yeah.
by those that came to. And I haven't
Yeah.
mentioned, I should have mentioned, your parents owned a fabulous restaurant that was actually
Yeah.
featured in a film.
Right, right.
And they've
The
recreated
Sandpiper, yeah.
that
Yeah.
in Paris.
That's right. That's right.
How strange was that, to walk out of your parents' restaurant
That
from
was
Big Sur into
just
Paris?
to walk off the streets of Paris into the studio and see my home, you know, with the coast painted, and I sat on the terrace, and of course after a while you'd forget that you were in Paris, and I would be all day long sitting in this restaurant, which of course I grew up in, I helped to build, and then I would walk out into the streets of Paris and smell chestnuts roasting and things, and hear the accordion playing, and I think, wow, this is surreal.
Yeah.
Really bizarre.
But that was then, of course, because was it Elizabeth Taylor, for tax reasons, couldn't
That's
be
right.
in the US for more than 2 weeks a year.
That's right. Yeah.
One of my favourites.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And you see that we found this old abandoned house, I mean, that was just being worked on with these beautiful details, and it was just perfect. The tile floor and everything just worked so well with that quilt, which is just simple striations of zigzaggy fabrics.
It's when we show your fat quarter bundles and things on the show, I see different things in them, and sometimes I look at them and I think, is this a rock formation? Is this? Sometimes I look and I think, oh, when you see things under a microscope, this is what they look like. It's nature stripped back to its tiniest form, and I don't know if that's actually what it is that you had envisioned when you created it.
No, I mean, you've different things, but what's so thrilling is when you've made a quilt, no matter what the influences are in that quilt, when you take it to a location like this, imagine finding that rack of shoes.
It's perfect.
That was so like the quilt. That's where Brandon and I, and it's very spontaneous. I mean, we hit a place, we maybe have one day to run around and look at all these different locations, and we have like little photos of each quilt, and we think, oh, this one will go here, oh, this one will go here. And then we make the little notes, and then we come back with a photographer, and we do it very quickly. But you know what I love about this? I don't know if you realize, this is me sitting at the bottom here, tiny.
Wow.
This is an enormous mural of one of their tiny little mosaic fountain pieces, blown up huge. So it was this massive thing on the side of a big shopping center.
And you're a tall man. That's hard to be dwarfed.
Yes, I know. But no one notices it because it looks like I was photoshopped in there or something.
But you are actually there. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, and something a little unusual.
Yeah.
But it's, this is evocative to me of the colours, the smells, the heat. You get all of that from this book without the airfare. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that was a beautiful hotel that was like an old palace that had been turned into a hotel. And so it was perfect with these wonderful painted doors. And then to put the library quilt, which is just, I mean, to me, when I walk into a room and I see racks of books, I'm very happy. If I don't see any books in a house, I'm very unhappy.
When did
what do they do? Don't people read?
When did you start reading? Have you always been an avid reader?
It gets more and more so as I get older. I devour books. I love my time to sit and read, or get in the bath with a book, or just read before I go to sleep, or read on train trips and things like that. I just love it. I devour books.
Is there a genre in particular, or is it everything?
No, I just love everything. I love things that are imaginative. I love the story of people's lives. The arc of someone's life is always fascinating. If someone bothers to sit down and write their life story, it is very, very interesting. And so I've not read a dull one yet. And so I'm interested in biographies, but I'm going back over the classics and reading Trollope.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lots and lots of him. And just fascinating. And those stories really stick with you, those novels.
Yes.
They're
Do
beautiful.
they inspire quilts in themselves and designs?
I think it all goes into the big, craziness of your imagination, sure. Because they describe clothes and rooms and things. Yeah, there's the layout of that striated quilt. It's just great strips of fabric, but it's really fun. And then I break it so that it isn't just straight across. There's a sort of break in the pattern, which I love.
Yeah, it's this one that made me think, was that inspired by a rock formation?
No, that was inspired by an Aboriginal painting that I saw in Australia, yeah. And it was done in very, very bright colors. And so I did a few of them in bright colors. And then when I got into the softer, kind of neutral colors, I loved it. That was my favorite of those ones, when it was just very neutral.
Because we've had that fabric on the shows, and I always
Jupiter,
feel,
it's called, yeah.
Yeah, I always feel drawn to it, and we've
Yeah.
had this debate about where did that come from?
It was an Aboriginal painting, and it was. When I go to Australia, we're about to go to Australia again in January, and it's like, it is so full of inspiration, and most of the inspiration comes from the Aboriginal art, because it's just dots or stripes or some very simple geometry, but it tells such a story and it has such humanity.
So if you could live in any period of time, where would you live?
I might go back to Elizabethan times.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so rich.
I might see you there.
It was so rich. I would have loved to dress up in those clothes. The men had such expressive clothes. It wasn't like black suits now.
No, you did actually train briefly as an actor.
I did.
And who was your classmate?
Dustin Hoffman. Yeah.
And you dismissed him as, possibly, not going to do that well, that short little chap.
Yeah, exactly. He'll never get anywhere. Well, us big, tall, gorgeous guys, we're going to make it. And, no one's ever heard of us again, in the acting world. But it was fun. That was very good training, because it got you to step out on a stage and be a presence.
Yes.
Which has, I love to get up on a stage and talk to people about color and creativity, and take the timid souls of this world and encourage them to play with color and not to be so self-conscious about it. Loosen up and just enjoy creating and putting things together.
I think sometimes we are inhibited by a fear of going wrong and that it has to be perfect. But what I loved in hearing you say was throw away the colour charts. Forget that. Forget your colour wheel. Don't necessarily worry about that, but just use your eye.
Yeah. You don't need to know a theory. It's not a mathematical problem. You're not going to solve it that way. You will solve it by playing like a child. And I always say, I've never seen a boring child's artwork. They are always juicy and to the point and gorgeous. And, you just want to look more and more. And so just try to get back to being a child, to being that young, experimental, playful person.
Well, I was going to say this earlier, and because we've not met before, I didn't want to insult you, but there is an element of the child about you in that fascination and that seeing, almost for the first time of things, to actually see and not just take things for granted, which is actually a skill, a real skill.
Yeah.
And is that something that you work on, or is it come from being an artist, or?
You know, I remember when I was a young artist, when I was painting only, and people would say things like, you know, you have to find the child in yourself. It's impossible. I don't know how to do that. You know, I can't be that innocent, that pure. You know, because you are self-conscious when you start out. You know, you want to have a personality. You want to be taken seriously. You know, you want to sell your work. You want people to think you're okay, and blah blah blah. So you have to get through all of that. And realize after a while that whatever you do, you know, what I used to say is that whatever I make, someone's going to like it. It could be the most awful pile of crap, but somebody's going to come in and say, oh, that's the best thing you've ever done, and I want one just like that. You know, because it's happened to me. And it's just one of those strange things. I never worried when I first started knitting. You know, I would just knit up crazy things. And it would just suit somebody down to the ground. And when they would put it on, it would look beautiful. Suddenly, because they liked it, they would give it an aura, and it would work on their body.
And now, talking of your knitting, is this true, okay, that you learned to knit by asking someone after a trip to Scotland, you bought some beautiful yarns, and you asked the woman sat next to you on the train to teach you to knit?
Yeah, because I got onto that train, and I had 20 colors of the most beautiful yarns I'd ever seen in my life. And I thought, I've got to get a girl to knit me a sweater. Oh, she won't be fast enough. I can't stand her. I hadn't met her, but, you know,
already you don't like her.
Yeah. I mean, she's impossible. Yeah. So I thought, all right, the only way I'm going to be satisfied is if I make this myself. I might be slow, but at least I know what I'm doing, and I will be able to be putting an idea together. And so I thought, I've got to learn this technique of how to put these yarns together. And I just said, there was a woman sitting across from me. I said, do you know how to knit? And she said, yes. And I said, could you show me? I said, I've got the needles. I've got the yarn. I'm ready. And so she showed me. It took me 20 minutes to learn.
That was it. You'd got it.
And I was off. And, you know, jumped out of the train and started knitting.
Now, to be fair, most people, when they are honing a new skill, will take years to create and to refine. The first thing you knitted, you took to Vogue.
That's right.
I mean, let's not mess around here.
Yes, being very shy and retiring.
To Vogue.
You know, the thing is, I am from California. You know, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to sit around and be all English and shy and self-effacing. I thought, you know, damn, this is gorgeous. You know?
It needs to be seen.
I mean, I knew it was kind of a mess technically, but I hoped that whoever I showed it to would overlook that and see the genius of these colors put together. And thank God, the woman I got, Judy Britton, who just happened to be the most wonderful, far-seeing, poetic kind of Irish woman, and she just looked and she said, this is where knitting is going in the future. Oh. So I was off.
Fabulous.
And it was wonderful, you know, because that way I was able to play with color and create stripes and all kinds of things. I was able to create ideas that could then be woven into my weaving ideas.
Because you are a master of so many different skills. We've talked about your love of blue china.
Yeah.
And when you went to Sweden, what a joy.
Yeah.
Is it a coincidence? Morocco, you know, when from your childhood you heard a lot about it from those coming to your parents' restaurant. Sweden, you said the proportions of the buildings felt right.
Yeah.
And echoed.
Because you see, the thing about America and Australia and places like that is that our backgrounds are full of Russian and Scandinavian carpenters and German carpenters who came and built these wonderful Victorian houses. I mean, I remember the Victorian area more because that was like our past. And so these porches and these window frames, the proportion of everything, you know, just had this kind of thing. And when I got to Sweden, here was this wonderful kind of proportion of things. And I realized that's where my past comes from.
Yeah.
The barns were red, just like the barns in America. You know, everything. It was so exciting. But this was wonderful where we found this old merry-go-round. And so I had made this very bold kind of circus stripe quilt that worked well on that.
These are quite, I mean, it's quite similar to the bold stripe that we've got in our quilt today.
Yeah.
I love that this comes
well,
through
you see,
time and
I love
again.
ecats and batiks when they have a strong profile. You know, a lot of batik is very sort of moldy schmoldy, you know, all mixed up kind of munge. But I love it when it's got this crisp, you know, and I love crisp stripes. You know, I've loved stripes all my life, and you know, they never get old.
No.
They come and go in fashion, but you know, they're just exciting.
It is yet another beautiful, beautiful book.
Yeah.
Talking of stripes, I mean, wow.
Yeah, and that was very simple. Just took three colorways of this one stripe fabric, and then just put a woven stripe right in the middle, and that, so it's all stripes again, very, very similar to, so here we are back again. You know, a good idea, I just recycle constantly. I come back to it and back to it when I have new fabrics and new colors. That's the other thing about when I create my colorways, I do it like a paint box. I'm giving people possibilities to play with. So here's like sort of wonderful, warm autumn colors, but there's also, you know, there'll be jewel deep colors and there'll be lovely light spring colors and so forth, so that people can constantly come back and refresh and come back to those same possibilities.
It's like being a kid in a candy shop, isn't it? All these colours is amazing. Now, we do have today a competition for you. Anyone buying anything Kaffe related will go into a prize draw. So, Kaffe, I'm going to ask, could you please sign one of these, which is going to be given away? Just so that you see...
It was actually done.
The man himself, pen in hand. Now we need to compare that with Jess's.
There we go.
Thank you.
I think it's gotten a bit bolder now.
But hasn't everything?
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, I used to arrive in country houses in England and see where the Queen had written Regina, because in these great big letters, and so, you know.
Who gave the Queen a Sharpie? Thank you for doing that for us. Gosh, so many questions. I haven't even, I've got a stack of questions here. I haven't even delved into them. But we're an hour in already.
Right.
We've got another hour with you. We're going to let you go and have a cup of tea.
Right. Lovely.
Maybe a wander, have a look. Hey, if you do get a chance to wander outside around here, graffiti art, is that anything that
I've already seen some fabulous things. Yeah, we wandered into a little parking lot and it was just full of the most amazing images. Yeah, beautiful.
I did wonder if you'd see that colour.
Yeah. When I see a bit of colour, I run.
Yeah, well, maybe this is it. Maybe we can get Birmingham to inspire a quilt.
Yeah, or a book, maybe. You never know. You never know.
Amazing. Yeah. We will see you back in an hour. Thank you so much. Please do make sure that you grab your Kaffe Island book, because we've got them here first. So don't miss out on that. But next up, we're all about a cushion, a Kaffe cushion. See you in a moment.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for The Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more. Tune in on Friday the 11th of August as we welcome designer and artist Anna Maria Horner to the studio. We'll find out all about Anna Maria's work and introduce her floral retrospective collection, brand new to Sewing Quarter. Anna Maria's designs, which include fabric prints, quilts, clothing and fine art, are renowned across the globe. Her fabrics combine vintage and modern elements, which, along with the masterful use of colour, create a timeless, elegant style. Anna Maria's work has influenced a generation of sewers and quilters, not least our very own Lucy Brennan, who will also feature in this unmissable morning of shows. So join us on Friday the 11th of August at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. for our Anna Maria Horner special, only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
When I started quilting, I'd seen Anna Maria Horner's fabric, and it was really inspirational to me. I love the way that she combines colours, and I have made a couple of quilts using her quilt patterns. I think she's really clever how she has created modern fabric, but it has a traditional feel to it at the same time. A lot of the colours she uses really appealed to me, and the way she mixes colours in quite an unusual way, but it makes them really special, makes them stand out, and you know that it's her fabric. So this quilt was created using Anna Maria Horner's featherbed pattern, and I had some of my friends that I was in quilting bee groups with make some of these feathers, and I just arranged it according to the layout that I wanted with the number of feathers that I had, and I added in different blocks, and it was all hand quilted as well. So there's some of Anna Maria's fabrics in there, and there's lots of other people's fabric scraps, and it's a beautiful, huge quilt that lives on our bed.
Join us on Friday the 11th of August at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. for our Anna Maria Horner special. Only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
Welcome back. Now, this morning is, of course, Kaffe Fassett Day here. We're lucky we've got Jess Entwistle in as well today to make some of these incredible pieces. We looked at the quilt earlier. If you've managed to grab the quilt so far, well done. Please do check out your baskets for that. It's a stunning piece. Now we're moving on to furnishings. Yes. Onto the cushions. This is the original cushion. Can't believe we've got our hands on this.
It's just gorgeous.
Kaffe actually made, and this is what has inspired our kit. Now he brought this in for us today. You can see where it's been folded in his suitcase.
Oh, I know.
Just brilliant. Just so stunning. And again, you know, this is fabric that we recognise. We've had this on the shows.
I have this fabric.
Do you? Yeah. Really lovely. So this is Kaffe's one. Our version, we've got two options. This is the pink one, and we're going to make the blue one.
We are.
Yes. So for £57.95, this is the Pink Lotus Kaffe Fassett Cushion Kit, including 3.5 metres of fabric, the book as well. You're getting a book in here, Bonder web and thread. Excellent. 3.5 metres. Oh, now let me show you. I'll go into details with that fabric in just one moment. The other option is, wow, is blues and oranges. I mean, this is vibrancy, isn't it?
It is. I'm itching to look at those.
Yeah, I know we are. Well, actually, do you know what? You're going to make out of this one, aren't you?
Yes.
But let me show you very quickly what you're getting in the pink, because I want to show you this piece.
It's lovely. It's just gorgeous. Look at that. That's upside down. There we go.
There you go. So, I mean, this is what you're getting in this quilt kit, is this stunning, stunning fabric. Just beautiful. It's all in there. That's not all we've got on the show today. So I'm going to run very quickly through all the different fabrics because there's so much to choose from, isn't there? So that is the cushion. We'll come back to that. Let me look at your design, at the design strips. So we've got two different options for you. I love that he does a 6-inch, but we've also got your classic 2.5-inch strip.
I didn't know 6 inch. Very nice.
In a minute. Now, this one here gives you those rich autumnal tones. Now, this is your design roll, 42 pieces, I think, is it, in this one? Let me just double check. I did know, 30 piece, there we go, 30 piece in your neutral. This is your classic collection. You see all sorts of colours through there. Beautiful. $42.95. Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
but if you need more than just a 2.5-inch flash of Kaffe's work, I don't know many designers that do.
No, I haven't seen that before.
A 6-inch strip, but it's here, which means that you get to enjoy a wider band. Look at this.
Oh, the colours are just gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah,
Oh, I can see the prints I know in there as well.
It's a rainbow, isn't it, going through? $53.95. Grab that. Now, we've also got different charm packs. 42 pieces in the charm pack.
That's from this range.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. The one that I have here is the Classics 5-inch charm pack, just so that producer Paul can get all the right... it is... So 30 pieces, but look at the cut. Yeah, this is the one that I mean.
I'm just wondering if this is similar to the one we've got on the back.
Yes,
there.
I think it is. Yeah. This is the one that I say always reminds me of being under a microscope.
Yes.
But and you know, so many questions I just want to ask him about. But there's again, you've got.
I've got that in a different colour. Oh, it's just
You've
yummy.
got Kaffe work in here, but he described himself, Brandon Mabley, and Philip Jacobs as being the three musketeers of design, which I thought was wonderful. Yeah, look at that. So that is your charm pack, $16.95, amazing. Then we've also...
I love pre-cut hexagons.
Hey, it's always a treat, isn't it?
I love them. There's so much we could do with hexagons. It's really quick. You do English paper piecing and just make up your lovely hand... Oh, look at that.
I guess the thing is that when you have such intricate designs, as Kaffe does, that when you cut into them, you're going to get a different feel.
Yeah. I've done so many bits with that. We have little pieces, and you add a little bit of embroidery and change the meaning of the actual design, and makes it sort of. There's so many different things. Oh, look!
Look at that! That's producer Paul's favourite.
That's Brandon's. It's there.
Yeah. That's yeah. Oh, it's a bit of fishnet.
It is a bit of fishnet.
It's a saucy
Yeah,
one, ladies and gents. That's that one. But then also, now this is your 10-inch. We don't often have these. Now, some of you will know them as a layer cake. We can't call them layer cakes because, I don't know, it's someone somewhere's done a trademark or something on it. So it is, well, here we go. It's 10-inch charm pack as far as I'm concerned.
You can do so much with a charm pack. It's so quick.
Well, cut it down, keep it huge. This is going to create the most incredible impact, isn't it?
Oh,
if I could actually...
Oh, there we are.
Oh, look,
There they are
cheeky
again.
bit of fishnet again there. I just feel drawn to these ladies. So there we go. That there is your sunshine.
I
Happy
love
day.
that one.
A happy day in these. One last one here because maybe you want... And actually, here we
Oh,
go.
cabbages.
Yeah, the cabbages and kings.
I love cabbages.
This is your other alternative to your 10... Well, maybe you want to get both. But just look at these. Oh, stunning. Stunning, stunning. Ooh. We've got to get on with this.
They're just gorgeous. Right, okay.
Is one day of Kaffe enough? That's my question. No.
Never. So, the book.
This book comes in your kit to make your cushion, which means that it, to me, is the kit that never runs out.
Yeah.
Because you always have this as a resource. Beautiful. $57.95. And the book itself, well, look, actually, even on the front page, there is the cushion that we've actually got in the studio, got our mittens on today. All sorts in there. We will have another look through this, but I'm very aware that we want to get making.
Right. Okay. So we have made the first one, which is the pink, and then we have the lovely blues,
which is what we're going to work with today. Look at this. Let's hold this one out.
This is just such a happy print. There we go. And the wonderful thing about these prints is, obviously, we fussy cut them, but you can just sew it however you actually want. But I've actually fussy cut the flowers how I wanted to.
This has got a feel of gypsy and circus,
yes,
and that kind of bright, colourful, vibrant life, isn't it? All in there. It's all in there. You see, who would ever then have thought, work it in with this? Love this.
That's the thing, because you pick up the lovely hot orangey red, and it just links through.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think that's called squiggle.
Squiggle.
I can't imagine why. What are we doing with it, Jess?
What we're doing
is
we've taken the inspiration from the book, which is this lovely design, and we've teamed it with a solid and 3 spots.
Right.
So you're getting a lot. And so you can actually do it however you actually want to. We're using this as an inspiration in view. So what I've done for the blue one is I have pre-cut and I'm ready.
Okay.
So we can sew it all up. So this makes a 20-inch cushion.
Okay, well that's a big size actually, isn't it?
It is a big size. So obviously you can tailor it down however you actually want to do it.
Yeah.
So what I decided to choose for the blue version is I decided to have that, which is sort of picking up from this spot as the top bit. This as the bottom bit.
Right.
And then I use the solid as the actual border.
Oh, nice.
So I've done it like that. So we can actually... So what I thought we could do is, if I start stitching them together...
Please do, yes.
What it says in the book is to stitch these two together and then add your applique.
Right.
And then this also comes with a ribbon strip, which we're not actually doing. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to stitch this all together with the side bits. And then we're going to muck about with the design and just put pots and flowers everywhere. Yay! So we're going to over-chef it completely. So let's put the iron on. We'll just give it a quick press and then I'll start sewing.
Oh, gosh.
The instructions are all in the book, how to actually make it and how to actually cut. It's very simple. It uses another 1/4 inch seam allowance. The quilt is 1/4 inch seam allowance. But the wonderful thing about these prints is you can fussy cut however you actually want.
Yes.
So you might decide to just keep it really sort of simple, have a couple, as I've done on the pink. I've put just a little tiddly pusher, as my mother used to say.
What?
Tiddly pusher. Just a little accent of a little flower. I know, a little tiddly push. Do you like it? So I decided to do that, which keeps it a very sort of subtle gypsy caravan. If you have a sort of girly girl who loves pretty, really simple, or for yourself, if you're a girly girl yourself, who knows? But this one, I'm going to shove it with as many flowers as we've got time to cut out. I've cut out loads.
I
they're
love
all
this.
ready.
I love
it's
this.
so much fun, isn't it? It's mucking about with fabric and colour. I mean,
do you know the
best
energy
ever.
and vibrancy that Kaffe has just brought into the studio today, not just by his quilts, but his actual presence as well, and the excitement is just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. We are so lucky. And Jess, isn't he lovely?
He's so nice, and his partner Brandon is just lovely as well. Hello, Brandon. I'm watching on telly just now. I just had a lovely chat in the green room with him. Oh,
I want to try on his hat.
He's got a lovely
great
hat. Beautiful hat.
Yeah. But just, and so calm.
Yes. Well, if you think about it, if you've been doing this for this amount of time, you're going to be well settled in your skin, as it were, aren't you?
But overexcited. Just brilliant. Just love it. Please check out your baskets. A plea from producer Paul's a plea.
Check out
1P&P. Yeah. So
1P&P.
please do check out your baskets. I don't want anybody missing out today. It's Kaffe Fassett Day here at Sewing Quarter, which means that nobody should miss out. You saw him sign a book live, and that will go into the competition. So if you're buying anything Kaffe today, you will go into that competition to win one of those signed books. He's going to do more than one.
May I have the
T's and C's on the website for you there.
So many books as well. I mean, I've got 4 of the big old ones, and there are how many books?
Over 30.
That's a lot of books.
Well, you think he's bringing out at the moment a book a year in terms of his quilting?
And the quilts are just, I remember for me it was the sort of the needlepoint, the paintings, the glorious colour, that'll do. Oh, yeah, a bit more there, that's fine.
I just watch your fingers. That's
I know, the amount of times I've
actually,
you always sort of, you know, if you're a sewer, you end up with sort of jabs of pins and needles and stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what, it's part of what you do.
Yeah.
So that's that bit. And then you sew the top and the bottom. All pre-cut. Mm-hmm. The instructions are, here you go.
Yeah, no, the instructions are, of course, in the book. That's the joy of it. And this is, the book is the inspiration for the cushion, but it's full of other ideas as well. So you're not limited to just this. You can get the book separately. If you have got a library of Kaffe and this one's missing, add it in.
I was thinking
details coming up in just a moment for that.
I was thinking about there was a lady who phoned in earlier and she showed a couple of her cushions. One of them, I think, was that one.
Yes.
It was, wasn't it?
Yes. Because we all went, oh, we've seen that.
Yes, and of course it's on the cover of the book.
Yes. Fabulous. I think there's something for everyone in here.
Oh, that's lovely.
Do you know my most surprising answer that he gave was that if he had to pick a colour, it would be grey.
Oh, because it's the sort of accent of everything. If you think if your whole life is an explosion of colour, then actually having something which is if you look at this, it just makes it all pop.
Doesn't it? I know.
It really does.
You get the book in the kit, which is the beautiful thing. So not only do you get the capability straight off to make a cushion from the book with everything that you need to get going, including the thread. It's all in there. We've given you 2 options. So whether you're pinks or whether you're blues and oranges, then we've got a kit for you. This is the one we're working on today. This is the one that Jess is using now, which is the beautiful. I've got to hold it up again because it is just stunning.
And you have, because you're fussy cutting this, though, you can use as little as much as you want. So you could actually, you could have, this as a bit, you can have it as an accent. You can make loads of cushions because you get so much fabric with it.
I would be tempted to save one and just do a straightforward cushion just with that as the front, almost to sit behind it so that you saw the accent.
More pom-pom trim.
Yeah, now. Rick Rack and Pom Pom. Bring out the Rick Rack and Pom Pom.
Absolutely.
This is the pink one.
Yeah.
Well, your version of the pink. Yours could be completely different. That's the joy.
Absolutely. You do what you want.
Learning today, there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever brings you joy. $57.95. Don't leave it in your basket. Check out.
Top.
Check out.
Let's just do this one. Would you press those two for me, please?
Yes, I certainly can. Producer Paul, could we just check, because we're talking about sellouts. I'm sure there are going to be sellouts today. That is inevitable, I'm afraid, when we bring fabulous things. I just wanted you to check the book that we had last hour, the Quilts in Ireland.
That was a lovely book. I was looking at
Beautiful.
that earlier. It's just, beautiful.
Over half the stock of that gone. You're going to struggle to get it elsewhere.
I am not surprised. It is a beautiful book.
You can't. It's ours.
Is it?
It's not released until September, so if you want to get ahead of the game...
Wow. Oh, if you actually get that now, and then you're all set for any sort of Christmas prezzies or early birthday prezzies.
Well, whether you're buying it as a gift for someone or whether you're buying it as a little gift to yourself, you deserve it, then actually you're good to go, because then you can make your Christmas gifts from the ideas within it.
Yeah, because then if you think about it, if you get it in September, you've still got plenty of time, obviously, but if you get it now, you've got loads of time to make all your lovely prezzies.
But really, what a charmed and charming life. I don't know anybody else that would be able to have a picture postcard on their wall and then find that exact same house. It's just incredible. Oh, something's bunching.
Something's bunching.
Something is bunching.
That's there we go. There we go. It's all right.
It's just the thread pulling there.
That's fine. It'll be fine.
Too busy chatting.
I know, it's fine.
But it is one of those lovely days where we do get the chance to make, but we also, of course, have Kaffe Fassett in again next hour. Super exciting.
Hang on, let's just run out the bobbin. Just pull that out. Let's just check.
Would you like me to iron that?
Yes, please.
All right.
Just pull the bobbin out.
Now, in the first hour, we looked at a showstopper of a quilt. And, Kaffe says that the stripes are a part of what he loves. He loves
so many stripes in his work.
And that when he's got a good idea, it repeats.
Yeah.
And you see stripes in there. Now, we do still have stock available. We try and learn here. I mean, bearing in mind we are a channel that's been going, for 6-7 months? We do try and learn. And last time that we brought a cave quilt of this size with the whole kit and caboodle, it sold out.
I'm not surprised.
And I don't want anybody disappointed. So we have brought more stock of this one. But again, it is a matter of please check out your baskets. Don't miss out on this. Look at it. That can be in your home. I know Kaffe might shudder at this, but could you imagine a predominantly white room with just that injection of colour?
I think because you think everyone's got a personal way of how you do your interiors. Let's just open that one up. Give that a quick press. We'll just press it down. Just give it a quick press, then we can start playing.
Yay!
If you think about it, if you've got, when I went and saw his exhibition back, and we'll do that one as well.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. We'll just do top and bottom, then we'll do the bit. I saw his exhibition in 2014. I went on the last day. It was just glorious. The colour, it was just because it was November, and Bath and the mist is really, really pretty. It's very atmospheric. It was a very misty, slightly drizzly day. I arrived there. There were pom-poms in the trees. There were just. It was like, and you went in, and the colour was. It just hit you in the face. It was just utterly divine. But that's what you actually want. So, but because we were actually sort of looking at it, and they had beautiful backdrops, and in the book we talked about it, didn't we, earlier?
Yeah.
When they had the beautiful colours, when you're actually looking at sort of like a red room with amazing dramatic red backdrop, and then you have all the way through, and you have all the cabbage room. You saw the prints with cabbages, and they've got the lovely green or the beautiful old green porcelain and ceramics and things. But having something, and when they were hung on the wall, of course, it was the American museums, they had beautiful sort of duck egg blues and everything. But when you have something like that hanging on a really pale wall, it really accents in a way. So you can do what you want. I mean, if you have a very sort of minimalist house, then go for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed to hear that there is actually a beige room in his house.
Beige?
Yeah. Well, down in Brandon's apartment, But you see, then my parents have spent hours debating which shade of beige.
Oh, there are so
even
many.
in that. Yeah.
Oh, and
it's
which brand of
funny,
paint?
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many. You can go however you actually want.
Oh, look at this.
What?
Hey, with what you've got left over, you could have a go at something like this. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's so easy to do as well.
Love it.
Really easy to do.
That's gorgeous. Oh, we're running low on the sunshine hexagons. So if you need to grab that, please... Oh, hang on. I'm being asked to grab that. So sunshine hexagons, these ones. And the shade charm pack. Which one of the 10? This one, that one. So, hexagons first. Here we go. If you are sitting with this in your basket, please check out your basket.
That's gorgeous.
There are only 5 left. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. But you see, have great stuff. It goes quick. That's just how it goes. Look at that. That's that one. Please do grab that. Also, the shade.
Oh, I love this.
I'm going to start from the bottom because there's look at that. Love these.
Oh, look at those.
Just
just gorgeous.
Classic floral birds.
Well, that's the point.
Brilliant.
It's an eclectic mix. So you go for something on the back cover, you have this massive in-your-face floor, and then you have these little tiddly pushers.
Look at that.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
Ooh. But you need to check out your baskets if you want this.
That lovely Dutch master look.
Do you think that's kind of a version of his shirt, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Yeah.
Those lovely sort of greens and purples and blues.
Oh, but he's the kind of man that can wear anything, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He used to be a model
I know.
as well. He's got the lot. Right, what else am I looking at? The Red Lotus cushion kit. The pink one is low on stock already. Here it is.
So gorgeous. I love you're talking about grey. If you look at that, it's got an accent of grey in the back. So if you wanted to have sort of grey and then just have that as a woomph colour, that would look amazing.
We've got 2 options. That's the pink. The one that we're low on stock of is the one that you're working on. Let me show you.
Oh, you wait till I start
one.
shoving flowers on it.
Oh! That's like the best threat ever.
Do you know part of my job?
Just you wait.
You get when you do this, you just have so much fun playing, and you're tired, and you know you need to sleep because you have children, and you know they need feeding in the morning, and you know they need to be awake, and all you want to do is play.
You feed your children, you spoil them.
I do.
Here we go.
Oh, that's just gorgeous. I love that, and works really well with the squiggle. Really well. Really, really well. Right, I'm almost done making this one. Let me just press it, and then we'll start playing.
Excellent. Excellent. Look at these fabrics. Oh, sorry, Producer Paul, I lost you there for a minute. What were you just saying? Oh, how much fabric do you get? Yeah, 3.5 meters. It's not all Kaffe. We wanted to make this affordable and accessible to as many as possible, so that we could put the book in. You've got 1 meter of Kaffe, which is a glorious amount.
Yes, you have a half of each of these, don't you?
And then our version gives you also 3.5 meters of spot on as well, and then a plain.
The meter of plain.
Yeah. So
you have
you
loads.
Are getting 3.5 meters of fabric in here, and the book, and the bond web, and the thread. It's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk.
Yeah.
And because you have so much of this, you can fussy cut or do whatever you want with it.
But
because you
imagine
get
that as a
loads
top?
of the other. I know that. I was also thinking
would love
these would
that
be
as a
lovely
top.
as a Christmas top. I love also just, oh, it's gorgeous.
I'd love that as a maxi dress.
Ooh.
Oh.
You'd have to be careful how you place your flowers. Naughty lady.
Oh, giggling like a schoolgirl.
I know.
Right, what are you doing?
I'm going to press this.
Okay.
And then we're going to start laying them out. So the one thing about this design is it tells you, you have the back of the book. If you look at the back of the book, it's got templates. And it's got the actual templates for the vases.
Well, because in the book, well, let me show you. I have it here to hand, as if by magic. This is the design in the book. And you get step-by-step photographic instructions. Lovely.
Really pretty.
Really pretty. Oh, then we move on to... Oh, that was... Yeah, we talked about that fabric earlier. Now, let me find you all of the...
There you are.
There you go. Templates in the back.
So you can either, if you've got a photocopier, great. If not, just trace them. Or, because you're doing it onto Bonderweb, what you
Trace
do...
it onto the Bonderweb?
Just do it straight onto Bonderweb.
Job done.
Exactly. You just use a pencil. So here we have our base. So I used my Bonderweb onto the back. Here we have, and I've cut out loads, but I'll show you those in a minute. So you just, as you know with Bonderweb, you just iron it on, but just leave that on again because I'm just going to press everything because it's been sort of set for a while.
Okay, well I can do that for you.
Yeah, just do that one quickly to reset the glue. You iron it, or you'll work out which images you want, and you can just start playing, and then you can add and embellish. And I just went a bit mad and started cutting out loads, which we'll play with in a minute. So we'll decide where we're going to put them.
It's almost like you loved working with it, Jess.
I love working with this stuff. So when
you call this work. You know that, don't you?
I know. It's like a proper job, isn't it? So because this works in inches and we've got an inch mat, you can see that these two now line up on the line. So you can work out where the middle is using your erasable pen.
Aha!
We're following the design here. You can do whatever you want. You could have one vase with a massive, huge
like
load of flowers.
Gogh
Yeah, and you can embellish it with embroidery, sequins, whatever you want. So we're going to follow the design here. So, well, you can. I kept thinking it'd be lovely to have a vase there and just have this explosion of flowers.
How many of these cushions did you do in your mind?
I played around with these for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I decided to, stick with. So I did a very simple design over there. And then with this one, I thought I'll just cut out loads more flowers, and then we can do a sort of big flowery border. We could do whatever. But I love the fact with this, you could have one simple vase, and then you could just have this explosion going out here, whatever you want. So we're using all the fabrics, so we're going to use the spot, and then we're going to use it.
Kaffe has all the colours, so we're going to use all the colours in all the fabrics and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You know that. I read that. One of Kaffe's decisions in moving to this country was that he loved the British sense of humour and clarity of thought. And I think, this riot of colour, it's humorous in itself. It doesn't take itself too seriously. No. It's a beautiful, happy thing. And that's great.
Absolutely.
It's great.
Now, shall we mark? With an erasable pen,
yes.
Just bear in mind with an erasable pen, depending on your erasable pen, if you iron it when it's drawn on, it may set. Ooh. Mine don't.
Okay.
But I would always double check. Okay. So I'm just going to mark the centre point so I'm going to put the centre vase in. So here we go. That's 14 inch. Half 14 is
7.
Well done. So we'll mark down here, 7 point, and we'll decide we're going to have our vase almost at the bottom. So we'll have it about there.
Yep.
And we'll mark that along there, and then we'll put a line along here as well, where you're going to put the other vase. So that's the middle bit.
Right.
So that's going to go there, the middle. We're going to work out where the other vase is. As you can see, you get one template in the book, and you reverse it because they are a reversible pair. So what I did was I had a photocopy, and I did his one side, and then I held it up to the light box, otherwise known as a window. Found some sun.
The universal light box, yes.
And do the other side, so you have a matching pair.
Excellent.
A mirror pair. So then you work out where that's going to go.
Those shades of blue, I don't even know if it's orange or red, I can't decide.
They're gorgeous. So you think, okay, that's where I'm going to have it, and you think about how you're going to have your flowers.
Yes.
So then you having played with all your lovely flowers.
Hey, look, producer Paul's impressed already, and we haven't even got a flower on
I know, look.
It's brilliant.
So much fun. We can see that bottom of it's coming off. We've got tulips, we've got roses, we've got whatever you actually fancy doing. So you could put that as a central flower. You could have another one there. What I thought I'm going to do is do like loads of ones coming up here. Whatever you actually want, whatever floats your boat.
See, this is where you get to be a designer of Kaffe.
Yes.
It's brilliant. Absolutely
and then
brilliant.
You think, oh, I'm going to have a great big down here, I might put something there, whatever you actually want to do. So then you iron them on, having worked out, start with, obviously, because your vase for this goes on top, work out where it's going to be, press them on, and then you stitch around however you want. So, what shall I just work them out and stitch them?
Yeah.
Have you got any preference for flowers where you want them to go?
Well, are we going to go symmetrical or asymmetrical or
whatever you want?
Yeah.
Then you can have them going off into the side borders. You can even have them sort of floating around.
But then where's this?
Well, I just cut that out, deciding which one I want to do, because that's a different one from this, is from the same range, different colourway. We've got there you go. That's obviously from pink. You could always get both and mix and match.
Yeah.
Because that really stands out against the green, doesn't it? So, what do you fancy?
Oh,
Decision.
I do kind of like that
Let's
one.
go for that one. Why not? We could also cut this one up and have two of them, but it might be a bit much. What do you reckon? Is it ever too much?
A bit much. A bit much from a man whose one of his most famous quotes is, "If in doubt, add 20 colours."
Let's make it more. Let's put loads on. Right, okay.
Just a word warning, just not to iron onto the mat there, because it doesn't like it.
No.
Whilst you iron, I'm going to grab Ireland.
Okay, grab Ireland, and I'm going to have
palm
some
of my hand.
fun.
Now, here we go. Kaffe Fassett's Quilt in Ireland. This is available until September. We've got it first here in Sewing Quarter.
Nice.
And exclusive.
Exclusive to Sewing
Happy
Quarter.
days. So this is Quilts in Ireland, a stunning book. It doesn't matter what page. You see, this is it. Normally, I go through a book and I work out pages that really sing to me, that I really love, and I show those.
Show those first.
It could be any page on this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm spoilt for choice. Look at that. Spoilt for choice.
Gorgeous.
Lacey, look at that. How would you know to create a quilt and know that you're going to find some kind of shop that has that colourway? It's brilliant. It's just beautiful. Now, because Kaffe is eaten, yes, you heard me right. He is in the building, hopefully having a cup of tea and a biscuit as we speak, but he's going to be back next hour. We want to celebrate this fact.
Yeah.
Shout it from the rooftops. We've got a competition, so anybody buying any of Kaffe's fabrics, books, anything today, you will go into a prize draw, and each product is an entry into the competition to win one of 3 signed books. This is one of them. He signed it live on air before our very eyes.
Ooh.
So 1 entry per Kaffe product bought. So if you buy 5 product books, 5 entries.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good, because a lot of places you only get 1 entry per household or something, which is very irritating when you're spending out of stuff.
Especially if you've got a big household.
Exactly. Just another word of warning, because you're dealing with cotton. When you iron cotton, it can change colour, so don't go, oh, that's darker than the print. It will come back.
Why does it do that, I wonder?
don't know. I have
It's
no
just a
idea.
thing, isn't it? That
Yeah.
just... Oh, hello. Are we going for both?
We're going for both. We're over-chefing it here. We're gonna have a floor display of excitement and delight.
Excellent.
Yeah. Working out where you
We've
want
got 2 options. This is... well, the book is in here. This is what I love about this bundle, is that it's the bundle that never runs out, because you're also getting the book. $57.95 gets you the pink one there, which is the one that Jess has already made. But of course, your version could be different, or it could be the same.
Could be
But
however you
looks
want it to
beautiful
be.
Either way, if you are a pinky person, this is the one for you. But if you want that bold splash of reds and riot of blues and reds and all those really rich colours, then we've got this option for you too. I feel everyone's catered for. 57.95.
You see, I love doing that one. I was deciding which one to do because it was a case of which one do you want to bring to air, which one do you want to prep first, and which one do you want to do on air. And I thought, oh, I don't know. And I just thought I'll go for pinks because I am a pink person. I love pink, so I just thought I'll have a go with those. But then working, and I love doing that one because it's so pretty. I thought I'll go super girly. So hence the little, I really wanted to add loads, but I thought, no, keep it as simple as possible, as possible for me. And then just add as you go with this one, which is what I've done. So I thought I'll just go a bit crazy because it's just divine.
Yay!
Here we go.
It's just all rather wonderful, isn't it? Check out your baskets, please. Don't miss out. It's 1PMP today. The more Kaffe products you buy today, the more entries you get into the competition, which is a joyous thing. As if having Kaffe here wasn't good enough. We've done more.
One of the things I like about this one as well, if you've got someone who's learning to stitch, a young friend, a kid, whatever, this is a really nice youth. This is really easy to because you've already got the design there. You can add things. Look, just add little bits to the background, whatever you've actually got. I mean, it's just lovely. You can add it to
what you
my
really
denim
mean is you can put your kids to work to do the fussy cutting.
Yeah, but only if they're good with a pair of scissors, mind, because it is posh fabric. It's lovely.
My son spied his blunt round ones the other day up on the
ones that never cut anything.
Yeah, they just mush things.
Here, you use these.
Mummy, there's my sharp scissors. Can you
like, no.
pass me the sharp scissors? And I'm quite grateful that he thinks they're sharp because I did have one moment where I lost sight of him for a second. Where are you, Freddie? Under the table with some scissors. And
Worst
you just
nightmare.
But luckily it was his blunt ones. He thinks they're sharp. You think, is he going to have done a haircut? What's he going to have done?
Has he cut his hair?
Not yet.
Hideous.
I'm waiting for that.
Oh, you wait. Right, so where do you want me to put them? Where do you fancy them?
Oh, well, I'm enjoying your take on it here.
I'm just adding, because you can see it's going over the edges.
Yeah, I like that.
It's just, this is so much fun. I mean, because there's so many different images in this print, and you also have a lovely print. You have all these really vibrant bits. If you want to keep it, just take little bits. You cut the leaves out. You've got this bit here, which is just gorgeous. There's little flowers there. If you want to spend time, you can do really, really tight fussy cutting.
Now, Jess, I said that I would really, really love to have this as a maxi dress.
Yeah.
What would I need to be able to do with this fabric to have it as a maxi dress?
Well, do you want to just have this as an accent?
No, I want the whole thing out of it.
In that case, you need more fabric, obviously.
I do need more. Oh, there we go. We've hit the nail upon the head. We've got this by the
fabric.
half metre for you, ladies and gents. Yes, you can buy this by the half metre. So whether you've bought the kit and you then want to maybe buy some extra fabric so that you can do matching, more cushions, more of this, $6.95 per half a metre gets you the red embroidered flower fabric, which I think is a brilliant price.
I think that's gorgeous.
For a
really
half a
nice.
metre of Kaffe Fassett fabric. It's $6.95. So my dream of having this as a maxi dress could come true.
It could.
Because let's face it, being a big old bird as I am, and I have been described as that,
nice.
Maxi dresses, more ankle swingers.
Yes.
They're never long enough, so you have to make your own. And that's the way that it is. Ooh. Pink is also available by the half metre.
I love the accents, and then this lovely sort of yellow, and then you've got this lovely green, which I think is also in the back of the quilt backing.
I feel that this is my summer wardrobe coming on. If only
we had summer.
If only we had summer. It's an excuse for a summer holiday, somewhere warm, isn't it?
Ooh, yummy.
There we go. Just beautiful tones. By the half metre again. There's no reason you can't mix and match this in. Now, you see, this is what I was thinking. If you're patchworking with this, the number of different cuts that you make, that it's going to look like it's come from different fabrics, because you've got so many different colours, so many different florals in there. Each bit is going to look different. Yeah. Love it. Look at you getting on there.
So much
Brilliant.
fun.
It looks incredible.
Thank you. I just thought I'd do one there, and then we'll put a couple of tiddly pushers at the top.
Got to remember that term, tiddly pushers. Where did that term come from?
My mother. Well, we had a whole load of names for things which people don't have. You have umbrella, that's an stick.
Yeah.
Teddy presser.
Nice.
Otherwise known as a remote control.
Well, I'm glad that you have that, because in our household, my grandma always used to say, oh no, I can't drink tea when it's gone whammy. But you know it instantly.
You know exactly what
that
she
temperature
means.
is.
Now,
Whammy.
I've got 3 left. Oh, I've got this one off. I've got some left.
Quick.
Should put some on the bottom.
You nearly missed something else.
I'll put a couple at the bottom. Maybe put one at the top. Where do you fancy?
Everywhere.
Or you could do it like this. So you have that one and you have one at the bottom like that. What do you reckon? Yeah. Go for that?
Yeah,
okay,
why
we'll do
not?
that. Why not? And we have a little.
I like that. It's
tulip.
like a little tulip, isn't it?
A little tulip at the bottom.
Oh, but it's it's coming in for all.
There and there.
Oh.
Power of 3.
It's a beautiful thing.
And then with this, in the book, it tells you to either blanket stitch or do a little zigzag. With that one, I did a little zigzag. The kit comes with the blue, because you use the blue to sew it up, so you can either zigzag with the blue, or you could use any of your colours if you wanted to keep them so you have green on green, pink on pink, whatever you actually want.
You could free motion, actually, couldn't you?
You could also, if you wanted to, put wadding on the back and actually quilt round it.
Oh. Because for me, still honing these skills, actually I would feel, I've got to be quite precise.
Yeah,
I don't know how
test.
close we can see.
Well, you have to. Just
then-
test it on a small piece of fabric just to test your skills.
When we
before you
had
do
Angie
it.
Atwood in the other day, bit of a revelation, just sort of one of those aha moments. And she said, yeah, but if you free motion embroider, it doesn't matter if you go a bit wonky here and there. Go round it 3 times, then it looks like a design choice.
Yeah, so when I came on and did Christmas in July, and I go around things twice, usually in black when I'm doing sort of an outline thing, and you do it, it gives it a more definition.
Yeah.
But it's also a bit more, free flowing, as you say.
So it's entirely up to you how you do it. Again, this is another fabulous design choice. This, I'm so thrilled that we've got this.
Yes, you can
is
see the little
original
blanket stitch there.
So what's Kaffe done?
Blanket stitch on a machine, I think. Really tiny. If you wanted, you could do it all by hand. This is where you add your little. You could do little French knots.
French knots, couldn't you? Yes.
Yeah. So add you could even, if you have some metallic embroidery thread, do a little bit so it catches the light.
Oh, so you start to add texture, dimension. But you see that, because they've used a ribbon in here.
Oh, it's the most beautiful.
Which has got a beautiful sheen on it.
Yeah.
Maybe time to get out those embroidery threads and do some fancy stitching there.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, the what's the word that I want? You know, the ones with the really high sheen? Stick with embroidery thread.
There we have.
Oh! Jess, you spoil us.
There you go. Prior to doing your stitching, because it's Bonder web.
Yeah.
In theory, it will stay down without stitching. You never bother. You always stitch round. So that is that before you do your zigzag stitch. So as I say, and
I was going to say quite a quick make, but I bet actually it took a bit of time.
Wow,
playing.
Well, yeah, cutting out always takes forever, but that's part of the fun. It's how you're actually making. As you can see with this pen, I did actually use the iron on there, and it does come out with water. I know it does because I use the same pen. It's one of my favourites. But then you also make an envelope back. It tells you about doing things like doing an envelope back in the book.
Because that's why you've got a metre of your plain
and there's
fabric.
loads left over. I mean, I had effectively another square, another fat quarter left over. So you make, because this ends up being, 20.5 by 20.5 with a 1/4 inch seam allowance fits your 20 cushion pad.
Right.
And therefore you do 17.5 by 20.5 and make 2. Mm-hmm. And then you have your 2 backs like this.
I've always wanted to know.
There. And you turn it over, iron, and then stitch it.
When you do an envelope back, do you do it lengthways or horizontal? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. It's personal preference. I think Kaffe's done it.
He's done horizontal.
I've done it vertically. It depends on your personal preference, whatever you like. You can also, in theory, get away with using less fabric because, unless you've got a really fat cushion, whereas this is a lovely, I went for feather.
Oh, did you?
I went for feather.
Feather.
It's Kaffe Fassett. It's got to be feather.
Kaffe Fassett.
Fassett feather.
Feathers. Then if you've got the Hexagon charm pack, that has now gone. That is the risk of leaving things in your basket, I'm afraid. Please check out your baskets. But it does mean that you go into...
Yeah. Now, shall I start doing some zigzags?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, use a small zigzag. Test first. So I've just got a little
Have you tested?
I have
pre-tested? Good work.
I just did a little test on there to see what it looks like. As you say, this is I think Wendy said earlier, we were talking about using the blues as a serving suggestion. So if you want to use whatever colours you want, but I'm going to use blue.
Excellent.
It's change your presser foot from a standard, you've changed it between applique and ordinary sewing, so now making it 2 and changing the stitch length and width.
Hang on, controversial. I've never seen this button used.
Yes.
What does that do?
This button changes the actual. You don't necessarily have to. It's the dial, yeah, whatever it's called. I think it's called the presser foot dial, which is as it says on the tin. The top one, 3, is for standard sort of sewing, straight sewing. The number 2 is an Elna, yes. And I think probably the same on other manufactured models as well, which is one used more for applique.
Oh, interesting.
It just changes slightly. It feels like not that much, to be honest, but a little bit. So I've changed that. I'm now going to put it on a zigzag. On here, that's a 2. I'm going to make it a smaller stitch. We go width down to 2, and I'm going to make that 1 to make it small because it's tiny and intricate.
Well, you've got
always
to go.
Test.
Yeah, you've got to go round, haven't you? Now you're using the blue thread that came in the kit. You do get thread in the kit. Now, whether you just want to use that thread to just sew around your cushion, then that's absolutely fine. If you want to use it to do the highlighting for your applique, go for it.
So we're going to start. I'm just going to start on the central pot. Yeah. So there we go. And then once you've actually done however you want to do it, then you pin your envelope backing right sides together, working out how you want it to actually look, making sure when you put your envelope back together that is going to be on the outside, not that. Never done that before. Do you know what you mean? Stitch your way around with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press it. Always press as you go. Always press as you go. Turn it inside out. Shove in your cushion pad and admire your amazingness.
Brilliant.
That's all I'll say.
Whilst you zigzag. Well, we'll get you underway zigzagging. Yep. And then I have something quite exciting to show you on the website.
It looks so pretty.
There's a corner coming up. What are we doing?
Corner. Work out where this is going to go. So I'm just going to go back. Go forward and forward. Turn it. If you use, you have various different feet options with your machine. This is called various options. I call it the embroidery foot. This is the one I tend to use most of the time because you can see through it. It also has a line you can't necessarily see here, which tells you where your stitching is going to be. I'm going to go forward again. And it means that you can actually see where you're going.
Oh, nice. That helps.
Really, really helps.
No point in stitching in the dark, is there?
No, exactly. No. But you can also see, you can usually see on a foot where the actual line is. So you can see if you're doing applique work, where you can see the edge of the materials. If you're doing something more free machine, it doesn't really matter whether you go over.
Is this the one that's often called a satin stitch foot as well, because it's got sort of got metal on either side of the feet, so it glides over the top. Just gives a little bit of lift so that you don't get stuck on that satin stitch, because you could satin stitch around the edge of this.
Yeah, you could do whatever you actually wanted.
I'm going to leave you.
I'm going to carry on
for a moment, because here's the thing. Look at our website. Take a look at the website, because, yay! Some of you have seen products from today that we've shown you on the show, but super exciting. First time ever here at Sewing Quarter. We have got for you Kaffe Fassett fabric by the ½ metre. That opens up the opportunity to use it for your backing of your quilts, to dress make with it. So, you know, I'm looking at this thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But it just opens up that opportunity. You know, we love a fat quarter, don't get me wrong, we love a fat quarter, but here at the Sewing Quarter, we do pride ourselves in being able to bring to you fabrics by the ½ metre, which means that if you want 2 metres, you put 4 in that quantity button, or just call us up. Free phone number, UK call centre, call us up. And,
it's lovely.
Anything more than 3 units, give us a call, is my best advice to you. So that was your squiggle in pink. I'm going to go squiggle, and now these are in your cushion kit, so if you're wanting to double up, what you know, if you want to do a matching pair of cushions, grab some more of these. This is squiggle in red.
I love that. That's just make as you say, a gorgeous top.
Yeah, wouldn't it just?
It's really vibrant under the lights, but it's just, and also really, really, oh, it's just gorgeous. Love it. Anyway, let's carry on.
Do you know what's lovely?
Go on.
Kaffe is going to go through these fabrics with me in the next hour.
Exciting.
So we're just going through them very quickly now because I want you to be able to buy them, you know, now. This is called Rake, I think, Raked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at that. Love that.
That's a great name, actually. And I love the little selvagey bits here as well. It's only got 2 colours. Normally you don't get that with Kaffe, little 2 colours.
Only 2. We've got another one in that design.
Oh, I love that.
Well, Kate's going to look at these in the next hour. So any questions you've got about these, get them in. I don't need to open them all out. You get the idea. This is raked
blues.
in blue. You see, blue and white, part of his life, you know, his love of blue and white china.
Blue and white china.
It's no surprise that we're seeing blue and white in here. Oh, look at this, though.
Oh, it's the same as earlier.
Do you know what? Suddenly, that looks like it could be balls of yarn.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or wheat
but
fields.
only in that one. Only in that one, funnily enough. People see different things. Look at this. Jess, have you got any questions for Kate?
So many, but I'll bore him forever, and I'll probably burst into tears, so maybe I shouldn't ask him. My question is, would you ever do another TV show like Glorious Colour? Because that was just awesome.
Awesome.
I love watching that. Brandon's already told me in the green room about the exhibitions they've got coming up in Bath, which I'm super excited to go and see.
You are a Bath dweller.
I am. I'm
you?
a Bathonian by moving there, not by birth.
Oh, no, hang on. You've got to tell everybody the story about how you came to live in Bath.
Okay, how we came to live in Bath. So my mother was a quilter, as I said earlier, and she knows me. And she knows how to...
As mothers do.
Yeah, she knew how to work me. And when Richard and I were living in London at the time, and we were renting and we were looking to buy, and we were living in Wapping, and he was running a project in Bristol.
Yes.
And so she said to him, and we're thinking of the settling down and having kids and all that
Moving
sort
to
of
the
stuff.
country.
Moving,
Yeah,
possibly.
the sensible
But I had been living in London for years, and I loved it. I did. Anyway, so she said, Richard, darling, take her to Bath, take her to the American Museum, show her the quilts, and buy her a cream tea, and she'll move. And he did. And it worked. And I remember driving up Bathwick Hill, which is a beautiful hill in Bath, saying, oh, do you think we'll be able to afford anything like this? And he laughed. Millionaire's Row. Obs not. And we moved there, and it was just the beautiful quilts there. And it's just, you have, you go into a shop and they have posters.
Yeah.
They have those on quilts.
Oh,
so you're
amazing.
just flicking through, and these are beautiful old quilts. Amazing. And we just walked around and looked at the actual museum, and I sort of did that whole clutching a pulse to your chest. Oh, I just love it here. And he said, shall we look at houses? And I said, yeah, yes. And that's how we moved.
I love it here today. Look at this. And this is quintessential Kaffe, isn't it? The simplicity of circles in different colours, mix and match through.
Yeah.
Fabulous. $6.95 per half a metre. First time ever, Kaffe Fassett Fabrics by the half metre and the man himself. Does it get any better than that? Jess?
Nope.
4 minutes. That's what we've got
Okay,
left.
right. Okay, in that case, as you can see, I've done the first one.
Yay.
So I've done the first one here, and then you go round carefully every single flower and the rest of the pots, and then once that's done, you stitch it all up, and you're done. So there we are. Oh, that looks so nice on screen. You can see
It
so
looks
nice.
incredible.
Oh, we
Where's
can
this
also
going?
embellish the pot as well. Oh, I could put loads of flowers on the bowen.
Estelle in Bedfordshire says, if you order 2 units, does it come as a full metre? Yes. I take it you mean 2 units of the fabric, not the kits. That is the first time that we've brought Kaffe Fassett in half metres. So yes, absolutely, Estelle. If you are a first-time orderer with us today, please do know that if you put in the unit box, so say you want 1.5 metres.
Yeah.
That's 3 lots of half metres. You put 3 in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, in the quantity, and that will come as that length. So maybe this is going to be at the back of a quilt, something like that.
Yeah.
You want that length. Maybe you are going to dressmake. You know, my birthday next week. You know,
Just saying.
Just saying. But please do check out your baskets because you're going crazy for this. Absolute crazy. Oh, the red charm pack sold out. What, this one? The 5-inch one, gone. Well done, all of you getting this today. Today, you know there's that advert.
Which one?
If Carlsberg did.
Oh, yes.
Today is if Carlsberg did quilts.
Kaffe Fassett.
We've got Kaffe Fassett here. And then, of course, we've got Festival of Quilts this afternoon.
Yeah,
Great day.
absolutely.
Happy days. Right, one more minute, Jess. What else do you need to tell us about this?
What else I need to tell you about this? The only thing I can think of to say this, if you wanted to keep it really, really simple and just have a couple, do that. If you want to go completely mad, as I've done mini mad, then completely go with whatever you want. And also because you had so much of this left over, you could just use the plain, you could add little bolsters, you could actually change the shape of your actual cushion, you could do whatever you wanted because there is so much of it in the pack rather, that you can just go forever.
Should we just check with the man himself? Kaffe, is it okay to go crazy with look what Jess has made? Yeah, he says yes. He says it's good to go crazy.
I'm going to do more stitching in the break.
Yes. Yes. Now, of course, lots of you getting the quilt that we had from the first hour. It is a riot of glorious colour. One of my ultimate favourites, I think. I didn't think it was possible to get another favourite, but this is it. It's just gorgeous. When you have all the colours, it goes with everything.
It does. It looks really nice next to the grey chairs, actually.
It looks really good, actually.
It looks really good with grey interior.
And because grey's been very much in, hasn't it?
Oh, yes.
So I say get that injection of colour. Beautiful. And enjoy making it. I mean, just look at that. Beautiful. $249.95. Please don't miss out on any of this. Kaffe is next. Yes, he's back in the studio already. Hello. And he will be back in the hot seat in a minute. We're going to be talking fabrics. So do stay with us for that. I will see you in just a few moments. Again, Jess, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
So today I'm going to show you how to do a double stitch. Now you would use a double stitch at the start and the end of your sewing to secure your threads rather than using a really big knot. You're going to want to take your needle through the front of your fabric first and then come out back through the front. So I'm using really big stitches at the moment so I can see what I'm doing. You're going to leave a tail before you then repeat that in and out motion. So you can see that's 1. I'm going to go back through again and that's 2. So you can see I've done 2 stitches in the same place. That's giving me my double stitch. You would then do whatever stitch it is that you're going to go on to do. So I'm just going to do a quick running stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to do my double stitch at the very end of my stitch there. So it's repeating the process. So I'm going in, and then back out, in, and then back out, before clipping my threads. So obviously you would clip these closer when you get to finishing your garment. So there you have it.
Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts.
The Sewing Quarter website is simple and easy to use. You can view a live broadcast of the show on our homepage. Get instant access to our online shop, which has a wide range of wonderful products for you to choose from. You can also enjoy a selection of projects and guides which we have on offer to help you enhance your skills and gain valuable tips. Watch the live shows and you can buy the product which is currently being shown on air. You can even message the studio to ask our presenters or team any questions you might have. Below, you'll find all the products from today's show for you to look at and purchase. On the right of the screen, next to today's products, you will find our simple program guide listing all upcoming shows. So, join us today at sewingquarter.com. Join us on Facebook. Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more. Britain's favourite sewing show is coming to London and we'll be there with bells on. The Great British Sewing Bee Live is taking place over 4 days from the 21st to the 24th of September at XL London. If you're a hobbyist dressmaker who's been inspired by what you've seen on the Sewing Bee, a seasoned professional looking for new ideas, or just fancy taking dressmaking up for the first time, this is the event for you. We are proudly sponsoring the Demo Theatre with live performances from designer, author and former Sewing Bee contestant Jennifer Taylor throughout the weekend. And with our discount code SQD, you'll get £1.50 off your ticket. So what are you waiting for? Grab your tickets now and join the buzz at the Great British Sewing Bee Live this September.
Hello, welcome back to Kaffe Fassett Day. Again, in the studio. Thank you, Kay, for coming back. We've talked books,
Right.
but of course, the books are based around your fabrics.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got some, for the first time ever actually here, by the half metre, which is incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone in wondering the process that has to happen in order to get to a piece like this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is inspired by big embroidered skirts in places like Yugoslavia or Bosnia or places, you know, where they did these wonderful big romantic skirts with beautiful ribbons and beautiful embroidered flowers. So this is called embroidered flowers. And it's made to look like those wonderful skirts.
Because you used to do that form of dance, didn't you? You used to do
I
folk
did.
dance.
I actually did. Yes, I forget. You know, you have read your books. Yeah, yeah.
Makes me sound like a secret stalker.
I know.
Secret.
Well, we used to sit actually and embroider our shirts, you know, like because I was doing like Ukrainian dances, and we would have you know flowers and things down our shirts. It was wonderful.
Did your knees ever recover from that?
Oh, no, hard. Well, yeah, they did recover. Thank goodness. But that was very hard on the knees, doing those proshadkas, kicking out. Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh. And so that was the inspiration behind here. So this is the fabric. How does it start out life?
Well, I shall show you. This is the artwork. So we have just a painting where we're seeing that. And then once I've done the painting, the first row is the colors that are actually in the artwork. The second row is the next colorway, and then the next colorway, and the next colorway. And this is the pink colorway that you've got there. This is the original.
Yeah.
That's how it printed up.
So hang on, this is
the original colorway. Yeah, coming out. And can you imagine the thrill when that comes back from the printers and you see, oh my God, they got it like my artwork.
Really have.
And they really got the sense of the paint and my, you know, wonky flowers. I don't want things to be too perfect.
Let's just almost pop that. Look at that. Just.
Yeah. And you never know.
They're going to get it from overhead. Look at that.
What the scale is like until you actually see it suddenly on the fabric, and you get the repeat and the yardage, and it's so exciting because then you can start making quilts.
Not just, I mean, this is just stunning. How long does this take?
Well, this takes not that long. I mean, I might start first thing in the morning and finish by the evening.
Is this acrylic or is this gouache?
This is gouache.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a nice opaque watercolor paint.
It's lovely to work with because unlike normal watercolor, it does have that vibrancy of color that sometimes gets washed out with.
Well, it's also mercurial, and so you're getting these mysterious, strange areas. So that this makes a very plain. They know exactly that this is yellow, and then it's going to go into green, and there's going to be that much green. So they get a very exact thing to work from.
So you start to create. Yeah. But you also have to have that mind of having a colour chart, a map of colour down the bottom.
Yes, absolutely. And then what I do is I paint out colorways. Let's see if I can find my little colorways.
I have to
Yes.
pinch myself. We've got Kate in the studio with his original artwork. This is just incredible.
See, these are the colorways that
Yes.
are repeated down there, which don't look like much there, but that's what they're going to look like. So the blue, yeah, there's the blue, and then there's an orange colorway, and there's the pink that you have the fabric of.
We've got the pink there.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, that's just taking a photostat, roughly painting over it.
No, is that how it happens, really?
That's how I work it. So that everything that's red here becomes blue here, or a deep pink here.
So it's...
And that's how it works.
It's just incredible. So how do you decide, do you pick similar tones to replace each colorway?
No, I mean, you know, what you want to do is bring the changes.
Yeah.
So I wanted, you know, that yellow to be very different from the blue and very different from the red. So that, as I say, I'm creating a paint box for quilters. So they've got their yellow for their wonderful kind of explosion of autumn colors, and then, or summery colors, you know. And then they've got their blue for the sort of more wintry, icy kind of colors, if they're in that mood. Whatever mood they're in, I want to supply the paints for it, as it were.
Do. I really think you do. We're going to sell out of these. Please do check out your baskets, because they're not always easy to get hold of, your fabrics, by the half metre. So to be able to get a great long length of this fabric is just so exciting.
And we, you know, as collectors of fabrics, we're all a bit cautious, and we buy small amounts, and then we wish, when we get back to the studio, why didn't we buy more of that? It was wonderful. So I love it that you're selling it in half meters. That's perfect.
Don't kick yourself and wish you'd got more. I think of your fat quarters and charm packs as like a taster menu. You know, you can go to some restaurants and you can have the taster menu and a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Exactly.
But there will always be that dish that you want the full amount of.
Yeah.
That's what we've got for you. That's what I see today as, which is just, I can't believe I'm holding. Holding an original cake. This is so exciting.
Right.
Oh, wow. Gosh, now.
That one's called Paint Pots, by the way.
This is producer Paul's favourite.
Well, I love this because, I mean, I used to look at those ads for paints, you know, where they would have a lot of, you know, the tops of the paint cans, you know, with the colors in it, you know, and things like that. And I used to just love it. It's so simple and childlike. And I thought it's so easy to just do a nice circle, not, you know, exact.
But it's an organic circle.
It's organic circle, exactly. So that it has a humanity to it, I feel. That's what I like. And so I've painted those out, and then I've done all these lovely kind of color themes. And so this comes also in deep reds, it comes in blues, it comes in many things. But here, you know, it's a perfect coloring for, you know, making something like this quilt.
It's like a palette of sorbet. It makes me a little bit hungry. It's beautiful. And just the simplicity of it. And I know it sounds a bit strange, but because the circles are organic, and like you say, it has that human element, it makes me feel comfortable, and it makes me feel able to use it and make a mistake, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And not to beat myself up about,
absolutely.
I made a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you have beautiful color, you don't have to be that exact, you know. When you're doing something in pure white or something, you have to be very careful because every mistake you make, every stitch, you know, but in something like this, I mean, the quilting can be very free because it, you know, you're not going to notice it that much. The patterns are quite powerful. One of the things that I was just thinking about, this is called the Artisan Collection. And what I was trying to do here, I noticed you were commenting on the fact that two colors, which is very unusual for me. I almost never do just two colors.
Yeah, that was Jess. Yeah,
but I wanted the freshness of two colors, you know, like the gazania and the raked. Because what I feel, by the way, this was inspired by just looking at a plaster wall.
Oh, really?
You know, scraped, you know, the way they would just take their big tool and they, you know,
pretty sure
rake it across the wall.
With this sort of pattern on as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And you were saying it's like a ball of yarn. Somebody actually did it in circles, and it looked exactly like balls of yarn. It was amazing.
Do you mind that people see different things in there?
I love it. this is grist to the mill of creativity. And what you're doing is you're throwing out an idea and you hope somebody's going to get the idea to use that as a dragon's eye or as a landscape piece or something, you know, or a piece of a house or something like that. I love it. This is one of the things that, you know, for years I used to go around quilt festivals. I would never see a scrap of, I would see one tiny little piece of my fabric in a quilt. Now I get to see lots of people's use of my fabrics, and they're so creative, and they give me so many more ideas.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I mean, I go around with a little notepad when I go around looking at quilts.
Are you going to
in Quilt Festival? I'm going to the festival. Definitely will be at the Festival of Quilts signing books.
Oh,
but also, I'm going to go to Houston, which is the big
Well, that's
quilt
the
festival
sort of
in
Mecca
October.
of quilts.
That's right. Yeah, that is Mecca, yeah.
Oh, is that
See,
sort
this
of
is called squiggle. And
Yes.
when I look at old quilts, when I see a fabric like this, which you often do, the Victorians loved this. And it's when this cuts up, as you were doing in your little pots with the, on the cushion, beautiful. It really it has a nice profile, don't you feel?
Does this?
So this is artisan when I'm thinking of ethnic fabrics like this, you know, the batiks and the ikats in the middle approach to color.
Because here, having ikat, I'm not quite sure how is the correct way to pronounce it, but it's because it's got that organic feel to it. There's something earthy about it, which sounds strange for such a vibrant colour, which, but it's.
But I mean, yeah, and it's made by hand, and it's, you know, they take the warp and they take these threads and they cut, you know, they tape off certain areas so that you get the pale in between, and then they dip it in dyes. They paint the dye on so that this is like a painted warp, and then they put it out. And I mean, it's incredible what they can do. And but it's wonderfully organic. You can see that just comes in a kind of wonderful wiggly way. It isn't prescriptive.
I was looking at the top one where it almost looks.
Yeah.
You know when you see music, when you see people producing music and you see those waves, it's almost reflective of that. And I mean, how do you get music in a quilt?
Yeah.
And yet it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
Well, that's
incredible.
it. I mean, it's got this rigid geometry, which is softened by being handmade fabrics. So all these are batiks that are just specially dyed, you know, wonderful the way they make batik, you know, with resist and dyeing it, and so that you get all these kind of wine tones going through it and so forth.
Now, batik traditionally is made with, as a kind of a resist with wax. Is that the case with these?
I'm just see this that goes through in this one simple zigzag design.
Fabulous, fabulous. Right, let's have. And
but they're nice and spiky, aren't they? They're very fresh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I thought, you know, for a two-color pattern that's just nice and jaunty, you know, it just.
Our other presenter, John Scott, has a penchant for a vibrant shirt, shall we say.
Right.
This would be amazing.
It would be beautiful. Because it's quiet, it doesn't scare the horses, but it's got a quiet life about it.
But it changes with the colour, and that's the beauty of it. Because, like you say, that one that won't scare the horses.
Yeah.
This one might. Holiday does not come with the fabric. You get to choose your holiday, but it's got that warmth, hasn't it?
Yeah.
My niece is 3, and she would kill for this colour. She, you know, this is absolutely her. My brother was not going to dress her in pinks and things like that. And of course, that's the only colours that she wants.
Well, see, and I love colours like this, which are kind of close-toned and harmonious. But it is fun to get contrasty, and you know, that blue against orange yellow, and you know, look how that works with this. But that is a very kind of punchy colorway.
Yes.
You know, let's dance on the tabletops.
That's a kitchen colour, isn't it? That's going to look amazing in a kitchen.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah. And you could make all sorts of things. You know, table runners, placemats, you know, tea cozies, whatever.
I'd love to see that al fresco dining with this. And again, were these things like this, were they, when you had the beautiful outdoor restaurant in Big Sur, were these the colours that were there?
Sometimes, I mean, you know what we've done? I mean, yes, I mean, my mother loved color, and so she spent a lot of time making incredible kind of burlap covers for cushions that were thrown all through the restaurant in bright reds and blues and wonderful colors against the sort of rustic wood of the building. Was just terrific. And then she had director's chairs, these canvas chairs that were wonderful colors. The plates were all different colors. And so lots of color was coming in and dancing about. And the food looked great on these colorful plates. So that was very nice.
Did you take this mishmash of crockery in your house now? Is that the same?
Oh yeah, totally.
Nothing matching.
And one of the most lovely experiences I ever had in these British Isles was going to Ireland in the very early days when I first arrived here, and looking in an old tea room. It wasn't opened yet, but I was just staggered that everything on the table was a different pattern. You know, it was willow pattern and rose patterns, and you know, the saucers, the teacups, the plates, everything was different patterns. It was a joy. It was like a gypsy caravan. You know, absolutely wonderful. Totally up my alley.
Oh well, this is it. I mean, your child lived, the people that you met, and the experiences that you had. If you had a grey upbringing, would you still have found colour?
I think I would have. I think it was irrepressible. You know, so, I mean, when I get in a place that doesn't have much color, I'm very miserable. You know, it's like I need, and it can be very subtle color. You know, as we were talking about before, the shades of stones on a beach can be very, very quiet. It doesn't have to be circus colors, although I do love a good circus, but, you know, quite tastefully decorated and restrained. Restraint can be very, very exciting, and particularly in a soft gray palette or a white on white palette and very delicate pastels. I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, for instance, this is interesting because here we've got Raked in blue and white, which of course is such a classic.
Yes.
And I've done a quilt like this. You want to see it?
Yes. Do I?
I've got it right here.
Is this?
And this is...
I've seen this in a book, have I?
No. This is an absolute sneak preview. This hasn't come out in anything yet. But this is Raked. And then, you see, I've just dropped in my range of these simpler two-color...
I love it. There's a simplicity in it, and yet a complexity. It is that juxtaposition.
Yeah, well, you see, I was looking at modern quilters who do these very simple things, and there's a kind of electricity about that. I love extremes. And then gazania on the back.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. So is this going to be in a...
That'll be in a book eventually.
The Birmingham book?
Yeah, perhaps.
The Birmingham book.
Yeah.
How would you put the graffiti into a quilt?
I know. Well, there are ways. Oh, we could do it.
I challenge
Everything is possible.
Well,
okay.
You know, I believe that you once said that you wanted next to do things on a grand scale. Sort of like knit a cover for the Empire State Building. Any closer to that?
No, or cover it with tiles. You know, I love tile cultures, don't you?
Yes.
When you go to Spain or Mexico and they have tiles everywhere, I just love it that they bothered to, you know, do the stair risers with beautiful little bits of pattern, and so that even walking upstairs, you have a little lift, a little feeling that life is a bit more pretty. You know.
Yeah. Each step is a bit better.
Yeah. Oh. And so I love that when someone pays attention to things like, you know, like when I go to Portugal and they've made mosaics in the street. You know, the pavements are these wonderful swirling patterns. It's just wonderful.
But you mosaic yourself, don't you?
I have. I've done a lot of mosaic. I love it because it's very much like patchwork.
Well, they tie in,
it's porcelain
don't they?
patchwork.
Yeah. What a beautiful thing. And so you can take your patchwork into the garden.
Right. And you break up a little rosy a teacup and you add that to a stripe or a check or something else that you find somewhere, or just a plain color. See, plain colors can be very exciting too. This is just taking my Aboriginal dot print, which is a very fine little dot print that I've added to the collection. And it just gives a texture to a nice blast of, look at that wonderful purple and the lime green.
Love those next to each other.
And you know, the sort of, you know, raspberry yogurt color and sky blue and so forth. So all of these can go together just to make a very sharp kind of graphic pattern.
But then you've given the
Yes. Well, these are
in
ribbons
it.
that I've designed.
They're beautiful.
And
they feel gorgeous.
Yeah. And wasn't that fun just doing a tumbling block in bright colors and just having that be a ribbon?
It did, and a ribbon that can be used in so many different ways. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
To have that little splash of colour anywhere you choose.
I love to put them on shirts.
Yes.
You know, you'll notice that I've put one in here and so forth. Yeah.
I did, and actually it was the light just catching on it that made me go, ooh, do a double take.
And that's a very nice thing to do for a button band because it almost gets lost. But a guy can wear that, you know, quite discreetly and have a little bit of juice and sexiness about his outfit.
I'm a fan of a lining, of a vibrant lining, because it's almost like you say, it's that little secret of
a great paisley or something underneath a very severe navy blue suit. Yeah, I love that.
We have had hundreds of messages for you, Kaffe. I mean, we will never get through them all. Right. But Claire from Bristol says, this is the best morning ever.
Oh, that's nice. How lovely. How very nice.
Lots of people saying that they love you, they love your fabrics. You know, what a charmer as well. you have charmed our British public out there. I mean, what drew you to come and actually eventually make your home? Because like you say, you've been a world traveller. Why London? Why England?
You know why? Because I met Christopher Isherwood, who wrote the book that became Cabaret, you know, the musical.
Yes.
And he was a wonderful writer. And he was about 60, I suppose, when I met him. And I thought, of course, he's just about to die. He's so ancient and old. I'm way past that now.
Chicken.
But he had a spark in his eye. He was like a teenager, you know, a turned-on teenager, not a sulky one, you know. And he was talking about all these wonderful things that he had experienced in life and how he saw America. And what I realized right away is that the English have a hilarious sense of humor about America. I mean, you know, we take ourselves quite seriously sometimes, and suddenly people were just falling down laughing at things that were happening. And I thought, you're right, it is funny when I see it through your eyes. So I went out and got every book of his that I could find, and a lot of them were about England.
Right.
And so when I read those, I thought, I want to go and see this place. It really made me want to come to England. So that was part of it. And then when I got to England, I came across painting because I was very much into painting at that time.
Well, you were. I mean, probably
living off my paintings.
Yeah.
And so it was a very exciting time. And what's nice is when I come back to the fabrics now, I get to paint again. And that's very exciting. Let me just show you. This is like a design that's called Dream. Ooh. And that's based on Japanese influence. So I'm just taking these oriental flowers and doing them, and then putting them on a kind of cloudy, dreamy-like background.
They are actual little clouds.
They are like little clouds, yeah. Which is something I love. I love the little textural things that happen in the back of, you know, brocadey patterns and things that happen in oriental prints. And then I've done it in quite rich colors.
When I see this, you have got all the colors.
I do have all the colors. And, you know, and we've added to it, so there's many more than this now. There's now about 10 or 15 different colorways. And this is our classic, so the people can still buy these in their shops.
You see, I'm not sure if you find color or if color finds you.
Well, yeah, that's a very good question, because, you know, when I travel to some place like Japan, the first thing that strikes me is they love pattern. They love the play of pattern. Oh, yes. And they're inventing things all the time. They'll take an animal and they'll do it abstractly. They'll do it realistically. They'll do it this way, that way, with stripes, with checks, with flowers. And so you're just constantly dazzled by the invention. And then, of course, you realize that the colors are so subtle and so beautiful. I mean, the Orientals have a way of just getting straight to your heart with color.
Yes.
And so it was very exciting to use that influence. And a lot of it, you know, people can recognize when they know Oriental arts that it comes in a lot into my work.
Can we expect a Japanese book then?
Boy, I would love that. If we had the budget to fly a photographer out to Japan and go do a book.
Oh no, we've got cameraman Tom there going, oh, pick me, I'll go. I think you have lined up here.
That would be wonderful, yeah. I mean, it'd be wonderful to do a film at the same time, wouldn't it?
Oh, there you go. Producer Paul says he'll carry your bags. I mean, what can I say? We're very accommodating at Sewing Quarter. We're lining up to help you make that happen.
Yeah, it would be wonderful.
Now, what else?
Do you want to see one more piece of artwork? This is, you know, we talked about Philip Jacobs, who was part of my, the Kaffe Collective is Brandon Mabley and myself and Philip Jacobs. Now, Philip brings in the classical things. So this would be looking at old references of shell prints and so forth. So that's like...
oh, Kaffe, it's beautiful.
Isn't that just a wonderful, great landscape of shells? And fantasy. It's like a sort of...
There is a fantasy element, isn't there?
It's like a traveling circus or fair, you know.
And you look at it, yes, there's that sea element to it, but also, you know, unicorns have been incredibly in fashion. It could almost be a mystical
absolutely.
unicorn horn coming out here.
Yeah.
You see so many different
Yeah.
things.
And it feels like flags and ribbons, and it's already a patchwork. I mean, let's face it.
Well, it is. and this is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Is that as you cut out just maybe even just a 5-inch square, you have so many options of making it different.
Like you could do a whole quilt just taking lots of background and little floating images and just do something very delicate like that. Or you could get into the dense overlaying patterns. You know, in many ways to go. But anyway, he brings me the fabrics in this generic kind of colorway. He would take this one color scheme, and then what I do is add to that my own way. So there's the colors that I bring in, and I color up his painting. So you can imagine what those are like when they actually become patterns.
Because Philip Jacobs said to you, he doesn't like color.
Well, he doesn't like to paint color. Yeah. So there's the blue colorway. And it's so interesting to see, you know, how very different it looks.
Because this is almost circusy candy and carousel.
Yeah.
This is very much underwater.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we... Yeah, there we go. There's...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that came out very nicely. And then a very delicate spring way of going pale yellows and lime greens and things like that. And then we have a pink colorway with browns. You see, I brought in to here a kind of tawny brown and very antique-y kind of colors.
It does, yeah. Who would have thought that shells could go into shabby chic and feel okay there, feel happy there? Yeah. But, you know, there's so many home furnishings where you see sort of duck egg blues and teals and things like that, and pinks and browns. And how lovely to be able to incorporate this gently in.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
With just a classic stripe or a check or a polka dot or something, you know, and then, you know, drop the shells into it. And then, of course, that's always my most popular is reds. You know, when you hit it with reds, you've got buyers.
Do you know, the red is almost sold out in the flower fabric that we've got today. This is beautiful. I was always under the impression that blues were the most popular in terms of colour. So I'm interested to hear you say that actually, no, reds are seller.
Reds were.
For you.
Blue is now becoming the great seller. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I'm not interested in the selling and the money part of it, but what interests me is that lots of people are interested in blue and want to make blue quilts. So that for a long time, it was red hot mamas doing their red and pink and orange and so forth, and which I love. You know, I love all of that. Yeah. When I first went to India and I saw women standing in the desert waiting for water, and they were all wearing shades of reds and pinks and oranges. And I was thinking, they're suffering, but they look so beautiful. They look so gorgeous, and they're waiting in this.
Suffer in a beautiful way.
Yes, I mean, oh my God. It was very, very difficult to sympathize because my eyes were just out on top. And I've never forgotten it, and I've used reds ever since, all together.
And that's, you never,
because the Indians taught me that.
You never forget. This is what is incredible about you. It's just your capacity for remembering these over decades. It seems to be you just recall these things.
It makes the impression on me that I suppose other people have that same feeling for music or for mathematics. I absolutely do not. But color is my music and my maths and my everything. You know, color is something I understand. It's where I was born to appreciate.
You see, and yet you say that you're not mathematical, and yet the proportions that you achieve, and there is a mathematical element of that which makes it pleasing. Whether you, a natural mathematician is what I would possibly call you without even realizing.
Yes, well, it's true. I mean, you know, when the mathematicians start to talk, and they have this passion for what they do, and they see everything in life that's mathematically explained to them in their minds, then I think, yes, there is something to it. You know, there is. I mean, because pattern is my second biggest obsession in life.
Yeah.
And because pattern is the vehicle for color. But pattern, of course, comes from maths.
Yeah.
And the patterns of maths, when you start adding things up and all of that play of numbers, it becomes very exciting.
Well, you see, you think about the Renaissance period, and you have Leonardo da Vinci, and he was not only an incredible scientist and mathematician, but also the most incredible artist. So it's okay, I think, to have those hand in hand.
Well, and the proportion of, you know, joints of a hand, of the eyes, the symmetry of a face, all of this is exquisite. And, you know, I love to draw. I adore to draw. And I sit down, when I draw things and reduce things to line, then you understand the symmetry of a face and the beauty of three little pots sitting on a table or whatever. You know, proportions of things have an electric excitement about them.
Now, your line drawings were your bread and butter for a long while, weren't they? And different from the way that a lot of people would do. I mean, certainly when I was drawing, it was, you know, you'd do a few, you'd sort of sketch it out a little bit. But actually, you had an art teacher that told you, do one line.
You are amazing. You are amazing to remember all these things. But that's true. He said, keep that pen on the paper as long as possible and keep that line going. And there's a secret to that, because it makes you think, well, if I'm going to make that line, I've got, what interrupts that line? Where do I have to stop it to make the next object overlap with that, etc.? So it makes you kind of analyze the structure of things in a very organic way. It's not analytical like a mathematician, but it is, you're analyzing spatial relationships. And it sounds highfalutin when I say it like that, but it's very organic. And I can teach people quite quickly and easily. You know, I've taken small children and taught them to draw very wonderful line drawings.
Really?
Yeah, by just giving them a few pointers and say, just observe everything and what touches what. You know, like, if a man's hand is here, then it's, you know, that the edge of that has to stop at the hand and so forth when you're drawing it. And you start to see life like that.
That's incredible, because you went to cities and you drew entire, you know, cities in this
architecture.
line form.
And my favorite thing was going into a huge old junk shop full of, you know, chaos of objects, you know, spinning wheels and double back chairs and all this stuff, and I would just sit there and I would just draw all of these things, and somehow my mind is wired that I can do that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's special. It's so special. Yeah. Do you always travel with a notebook to draw?
Try to, yeah. And I have diaries, and lots of sketches get into the diaries, and little notes about things to remember.
Now, how organised are your diaries?
Oh, terribly disorganized. Because when I did my biography, and they would look at my diary, and I would say, "Oh, here's a good thing," and they said, "When did that happen?" That's what the editor wanted. When? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't even put a year here. I wouldn't have a month or a day or a year. I just would have a bit of writing. So anyway, it's very chaotic.
But you just written Saturday. It's
Saturday. Yeah, something happened.
Month, year, details. Tricky to decide which fabrics and where. How to match them all. I do love this one. This one sings.
You know what's fun is to put things together that vibrate. And so, like, I would put a sassy hot lime green with that. Ooh. Or maybe a really shocking pink or something. So
can we mix these in?
Yeah. So that's the thing is when you start to put these things together and you get those relationships.
Have a play cave.
Exciting. Yeah.
So pink.
Yeah.
Producer Paul's loving the squiggle. He would.
Yeah. And by the way, we were talking about the Aboriginal inspired fabric called Jupiter, and that's the original colorway of Jupiter. That was like the painting. That's not bad on this.
It's
yellow.
not, is it actually?
Yeah.
There are no accidents. There are design choices going on here. Look at
Yeah.
And then what would you layer then in next? We've got to have a rummage.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be quite happy in this story. But then you could and then bring in this kind of blue into the situation. That could be fun.
In playing with these colours, do you find it becomes easier over time?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, because you get more and more confidence. It's that confidence thing we were talking about. That when you play and you begin to realize, oh, that works, and then you actually sew it together, and you actually take it out to Italy and throw it over an old fisherman's hut, and you be like, oh my God, it does work. It looks great. One of the things about when something doesn't look right, it's not quite in the right location, perhaps. And that's the way with fabrics. When fabrics kind of find each other, when they're happy together, and what I do is I put a lot of stuff up on the wall, and then I start to edit. This is kind of distracting. And when I take this away and take that away, now it's starting to sing. You realize, you had things that were too heavy or too bright or too light or too dark. And it was overshadowing a delicate little story that was trying to happen or a bright story that was trying to happen. And it was getting watered down by something that was too light. So you just play in that way.
Do you take photos of it when it's up on your felt wall?
I have a reducing glass, which makes it all come tighter and smaller.
It's like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. And so you look at it like that, and it's like taking a photograph of it and reducing it down in size. Then you can see, immediately that little red corner stands out. That's the odd man out. That's what's not working. And so it shows you right away.
Because when I was drawing, my dad always used to say to me, if something doesn't feel right, turn it upside down.
Yes.
And then you see what's jarring.
Absolutely.
But it's that.
I would do that, or sometimes I would put my if I was painting, I would put my paintings down in the garden, and I would go up on the roof and look down at it, so I see it from a really big distance.
Oh wow!
Or anything just to shake up the way you're looking at something. That's why I make all my students stand back from their work and look at things from a distance. It always helps.
You're going to have to stand back a long way from this. It's huge and beautiful. I don't think I could hide it away in a bedroom. It needs to be out.
Well, I'm telling you, walking into the bedroom would make it look like fun. Oh, yeah. And this was really fun. This was a design, when I first did it, I called it Turkish Delight, because I was looking at, details of Turkish architecture and kind of combining that with paisleys and things like that. This one I think is called Carpet Design. But I love it. Just big, simple blushes of color.
Fabulous.
And it looks great, with the...
Do you know, there was mixed feeling about that backing.
Really?
In terms of there were those that were like, well, that's just as beautiful as the front. You can't hide that away. And I said, well, if you put it on a bed, you just have to turn it down so that you've got that.
Yeah.
And then there were others that say, well, actually, no, I'll just put something plain. I'd just buy another backing.
Yeah.
And then I would have all of this to play with.
Yeah.
So it's, but I like it as it's like the lining of a jacket for me. It's that
exactly.
surprise of...
And let me tell you something. When I'm in Houston and I go around the quilt festivals, what I love to do is, without white gloves, take my quilts that are in the exhibition and turn them over. And so I pull it back like that. And everyone looks at the front and they're very respectful and, oh yes, Mr. Fassett, that's very nice. And, you know, and then I turn it over and I get applause. Because there's always big roses or, you know, I try to do something fun and surprising on the back.
And is that...
Because I think when you turn over a quilt, it should have a wonderful zhuzh about it.
This is your humour again, isn't it? This is your humour in fabric. This is every corner a surprise.
Well, you know, we're in the business of theatre. We're making theatre out of colour.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
Yes. Do you feel that about your home when you come in? You know, this is because it must be strange that things you have those pieces that are permanent. You know, there's a love for them that means that they have a permanent place in your home.
Yeah.
But then some are going to be transitory. Surely they're there fleetingly.
Oh yes. Yeah, and that's nice to bring the changes. You know, to put up a different painting now and then, or to, you know, I love it when you have a birthday party or Christmas and you bring out a wonderful piece of fabric that only comes out at Christmas time. And then you know it's a special time.
Yes.
And you put that red tablecloth on. You know, a friend of mine died who was a great painter.
Right.
Wonderful painter. She lived to 102.
Oh, wow, okay, so...
Because, you know, fabulous
incredible.
life. Oh, fabulous life. It's only to be applauded. But they decorated her house with total color. She was a painter of great colors. And they had flowers and fruit and wonderful kind of offerings of food that was colorful all through the house. So you walked in and you couldn't be sad. You just had to say, yes, she's still here with her vibrant color.
But isn't that just a total celebration of life? I remember being in Thailand and seeing what I thought was a festival. I assumed it was a marriage or something like that. It was actually a funeral. But it was just so bright and beautiful. I was like, well, yeah, what a fabulous celebration.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, even if it's a young person that dies, they've been on this earth and they've had their time, and let's celebrate that. You know, was there something worth celebrating? Let's celebrate it. Because take a moment, let's stop and look at that life and just be happy. And if you can remember the wonderful, positive, good things, the laughter, the jokes, the sense of humor, the use of color, the enjoyment of clothes, of shoes, whatever, bring it all out and look at it and remember that person.
Well, I think you are leaving an incredible imprint of colour everywhere you go, which is just fabulous. Can we have a look at that quilt again? Because
yeah, absolutely.
We've got our hands on an exclusive in here.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that I can wear heels with you, Kaffe. Thanks for being lovely and tall, by the way.
Oh, great.
Now, this fabric is available.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wonderful.
That's the rake, and then here's our little squiggle and the gazania.
Yes, it's all in there.
Yeah. So, you know, with the bits that you've got, you could definitely make this quilt easily. And then the nice blue and white gazania on the back.
Oh, I love that. It is beautiful. I grew up, my mum has a thing for blue and white pottery. Asiatic pheasant was her thing. Yeah. And so this, for me, I know that she's going to be at home just going,
while we've got quilts out, so I'll show you another one that I got. This is a batik inspired. I mean, you know, taking my checkerboard batiks. Because one of the things about that I love to do is a very simple batik that has this strong outline. That's why the big, strong stripes in this quilt. But here's just taking every checkerboard that I did in the collection, over 2 collections, and putting them together.
And actually, the way that it's quilted makes it look as though each of these checkerboard pieces has been pieced together. That
yeah.
is the patchwork.
Yeah, it feels pieced.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done a quilt like this that was all pieced. But it was fun just taking big squares, 10-inch squares of fabric and sewing them together. And you could do this with polka dots.
Look at that.
You could do this with flower prints, with stripes. It'd be wonderful fun to do it all with stripes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we had your beautiful half-moon quilt. That was the first big Kaffe quilt collection that we sold here, because obviously we're still a very new channel.
Yeah.
And a laptop, but it was that stripe.
Right.
It was that yarn-dyed stripe
Yeah.
that you had, which was just exquisite.
Yeah.
And these batiks, the same, the feel.
And this is fun. This is just big circles overlapping at the background. These backings are 108 inches, so that you can do something really big with those.
And so when you, because like you said, they have that extra width, don't they? So you can do. And is that, so when you do these designs, are you designing knowing that it's going to be a backing, knowing that that's what you're intending it for?
Because I have to limit it to 10 colors, which doesn't sound like 8.
Limits
I think
you
it's eight colors I have to limit it to, which for me is a terrible limitation.
Okay, who limits you? Who limits you?
The production of these, in order to get the printing to go on to that 108 inches, they have to be careful.
Oh, so it's a print thing, not
it's a print thing.
I was going to say, that's a brave person that ever tries to control your colour. Who has final say at home, then, when you decorate your home?
Oh, it's a sort of a toss-up, Brandon's down in his big beige, wonderful, elegant room. Actually, it's quite elegant. I mean, it has white on white and really plays with that. But we do the house together. He comes up through and I'm saying I'm trying this. One of the things that people say to me, do you ever sleep? No, what I do have is a wonderful friend who has a fantastic eye, and he will come along and encourage me when I'm just losing faith in something, because the best designers in the world lose their way. We're floundering around and we think, oh, damn, I thought I was good, but it's not working today. And then he'll come in and say, it is working. It's fabulous. All you have to do is just take away blah, blah, blah. And so, and I do the same for him, because he's a great designer. His work is very graphic and very jazzy and strong and kind of primitive.
Well, we saw the Can ladies.
Yes, exactly.
With a flash of fish.
You can. Well, he has a very, very, very funny sense of humor, and so that's great. When he comes out with these designs like that, and he did one a great big decorative fish that was just incredible. I mean, swept the world. Everybody was buying that up. And it was a big scale. I mean, each fish was about that big. Amazing.
Oh, the fun that you must have doing all of this. And that's the absolute joy of it. I mean, I often say about your fabrics, you can't be sad looking at them. You're not allowed. It's not possible. I defy you to look at that and feel sad. It's not. So you bring this this inspiration. One of the ladies that put on one of your exhibitions, because of course there are 2 places in the world that you've been the only textile artist to have solo shows, the Victoria and Albert magazine,
that's right.
museum in this country, but also Minneapolis Institute of Art.
Yeah.
And now, is it the director or something there? And she says that you can't help but feel joy.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice of her.
When you see your work.
But she also said, someone said to her, her name is Lotus Stack.
Yes.
I can never remember anyone's name, but when you have a name that's like a poet, Lotus Stack, how wonderful. But anyway, someone said to her, with Kaffe Fassett, you have to be careful. You don't go too far. And she said, au contraire. I thought it was great.
Find me that line that is a step too far.
Yeah, let's go there.
What would be too far?
I don't know. If everything didn't work. I'm always after harmony, which surprises people to hear. But even if I have 100 colors in something, particularly if I have 100 colors in something, I want it to be gorgeous. I want it to all add up and make you feel good. I don't want you to have to run and vomit over the edge because it's so awful. You know what I mean? You don't want to upset people. You want to make them feel inspired. You want beauty.
Yes.
And that's, you know, I was very interested when somebody started talking about the art, the way it's going in our culture, how it's getting more and more kind of ugly and shocking and bizarre and veering away from beauty. I love that. It's so fresh and blue.
Well,
but, you know, we need beauty in our lives, and that's why I'm making this palette and making these fabrics so that people can put together incredible furnishings for their houses or clothes, you know, I mean, children's clothes and things like that.
This is it. Yeah, not just children's clothes, Kate.
Yeah.
I've got my eye on a few, on a few of these.
Quite right.
Just exquisite. Now, it's interesting to hear that sometimes even you, who a man who says that actually through my life I've been very lucky to have this feeling of confidence, has a day when actually things maybe don't go quite the way you want, because we often get emails in from viewers who say, I've lost my mojo, I've lost my sewing mojo, how do I get it back?
Yeah. Well, you keep going. And that's the thing, it's very difficult sometimes. What I do is sort of take a walk and go out and change the air and, you know, get up off your chair and move around a bit. And then just walking out into a neighborhood, I'm telling you, I mean, we just, between shows here, we just took a walk around this neighborhood.
Did you?
It is so wonderful. It is so packed with gorgeous ideas. If anybody really needs inspiration, please come to this part of Birmingham and you know, knock around. It's gorgeous. It's a really eclectic area around here. And during the daytime, you know, it has a completely different feel. At night, there are so many different artistic studios and things, and they come alive, and the music. Yeah, I bet.
And we have something on a Friday or Saturday, the Digbeth Dining Club is what it's called, and they shut off a whole street and street food.
Yeah.
All different nationalities, different times, and the colours and the sounds and the smells and the music. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In just in a little small little parcel of Birmingham, and I love that about a place.
Well, I mean, every step we took on our little walk of half an hour was just so full of color and texture and wonderful ideas. You know, I mean, you know, people say, where do you get your ideas from? Very often they'll come from some graffiti in the street or something like that.
So when we see you hanging out in Digbeth, we know that you're getting ideas for your Quilts of Birmingham.
Yeah.
We want that to happen. Beautifully girly.
Yeah. And it becomes quite lavender, doesn't it? You take pink and put it on sky blue, and it becomes a kind of lavender story.
Because you could, I mean, if you mix in, if you're doing for a little girl's bedroom, something like that, I think that's the joy of yours, is that there is something for everyone, just in these colourways. So, you know, you've got that, and I know many a little girl that would absolutely love that, and the backing of that quilt that you showed me there. Yeah. And suddenly you've got something incredibly girly, and yet by just changing a colour, really masculine.
Well, and that's the thing that's exciting about doing colorways. You know, you've done a fabric that is very sort of delicate shells and things, and then you put it into hot Chinese red, lacquer red, you know. It just comes flamingly to life. Or put a black background. I've just done an orchid print of Phillips with a black background. And it's like, you know, it's so oriental.
Strong.
Yeah, very strong.
Really strong.
Yeah, it'll be a very contrasty quilt. And those, you know, there's room for everything. And sometimes something that's like black and white shoes dancing on the tabletop is very exciting. You know, you want a bit of high contrast and sharpness.
So this orchid on black, when we go to Japan for your other book that we're...
Yes, right. They were choreographing.
From Birmingham to Japan, I'm not sure that you'll have as many offers of bag carrying for Birmingham, but they're lining up for Japan, let me tell you. Is that the start? Could this be the start of what's next?
You never know. You never know. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, because once I've done the fabrics, then you start thinking, all right, what quilt is that going to go into? And when that quilt is finished, where is it going to look the most exciting? Like the next book we're doing is all about American quilts, looking at the American Museum and taking these fantastic antique quilts and doing my version of them.
Oh, wow.
And Brandon's and Liza Lucy's. And then we go off to America and we photograph them in typical kind of New England American kind of settings, you know, with barns and stone walls and wonderful kind of craggy textures of New England. So that's going to be very exciting.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's a whole nother thing. Instead of going for the romantic Italian, you know, Moroccan exoticness, you go to this kind of very classic old American. And, you know, certain parts of America are fabulously antique and preserved, and a real respect for the old ways of doing things, the old colorings and the old. And of course, it's the home of American quilts.
Of course.
I mean, of patchwork quilts, you know. So every town has a good shop or two or three, and then you've got quilt museums and quilt exhibitions and wonderful quilt publications and so forth. So it's exciting to be there.
It's your Mecca to Houston.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Exactly.
that we're nearly another hour has nearly gone.
Right.
Can you not just stay for a week? That would be amazing, at least.
Well, I hope people will come and see me in Birmingham and get a book signed and say hello.
How long are you at Festival of Quilts for?
Festival of Quilts will be here. Today's Friday, isn't it? So Saturday, and I think we're off Sunday. So
Yeah, so today's Thursday.
Today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Wonderful.
Right.
Wonderful.
We are live, aren't we?
Yeah,
Are we
absolutely.
You know, I never know when things are pre-recorded.
No. We are live and proud.
Yeah.
Proud to be live. I would offer you a lift to Festival of Quilts, but last time I put producer Paul in my car, I nearly gave him an anaphylactic shock. He's allergic to dogs and cats and everything else, so maybe not. Oh, and horses as well. He's like, yeah, you've got a horse rug, haven't you, in your car? Imagine. Now, if you're going for barn doors and things like that, imagine a saddlecloth in some of these.
Yeah.
Because some of those, I mean, when you look at sort of the Western saddles and the and the Indian colours there.
Oh yeah, and that's a huge influence. All those American woven blankets and things. I mean, they're wonderful geometry, and the baskets, these great geometric patterns on baskets. All of that stuff went into my knitting when I first started.
Oh, we've barely touched on your knitting, and we need you back. We need you back more. Will you come back another day, please?
I'd love to.
Oh, we would so love to.
As long as I get you to do your homework and give me the questions.
Well, I will insist. I will insist. You'll
great.
see me on Mastermind in the black chair.
Yeah.
Specialist subject, Kaffe Fassett. But no, but it was a joy, and I got absolutely riveted in your books, in your story. I mean, you say everybody should, their autobiographies are of interest, but yours was abundant and just a fabulous read. And if you don't have his Kaffe's autobiography, buy it, grab it. It's a
Dreaming in Color.
Yes.
Yeah. It took me a long time to come up with that title, you know. But one of the things is, I'm very glad you pronounced my name properly. You can imagine I get every pronunciation going around the world. But Eliza says, you're safe with Kaffe.
Yes.
So if
Kaffe
people want to
Fassett,
remember.
safe asset.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
And we haven't even touched on the fact that you were, in fact, Frank.
Yes.
That's another story.
That is another story.
Okay, thank you so much. We've got literally 20 seconds. So I need to tell you what is coming up tomorrow. Let's take a look. This week is just incredible. Tomorrow we've got Anna Marie Horner. Actually, Anna. That's how she pronounces it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to welcome Anna Marie at 8 a.m. And then Lucy's quilting, and the whole day is all about Anna Marie. Today, of course, is all about you, Kaffe.
Yeah.
We are celebrating you, your colour, everything else. Thank you so much. You've been an absolute joy. Thank you so much. Come back soon.
Right.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. It's
Thank
been
you.
a joy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Follow us on Twitter for more inspiration, top tips, news, and share your own creations with us.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more.
Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts.